years younger and I'd kick your ass.
Before I knocked out George Groves at Wembley Stadium in front of 80,000 fans.
Alright, this is King Butcher. Welcome to BDA Boxing, the boxing debate arena. Alright, shut the fucking music. What do we have in the chat here? Cachnello, give my fight, he's in the chat. We have Paul Johnson, Brandon White as always. We have the Punisher, the Quacks. Who else was here before? I think I saw Corruption. Who's the other guy? Fuck, I forgot the names. Anyways, welcome to Jurassic Park. Anyways, I'm gonna be drinking coffee the whole time, so don't mind me. Yeah. So, as you guys know, last show was pretty interesting. We're discussing the post-Bellew Usyk fight, and then eventually moved on to, you know, what will happen in Usyk's future. We know he's going to the heavyweight division, so we were, you know, pondering whether he was gonna be successful. Paul Johnson is asking if I'm drunk. No, I'm not drunk now. I'm completely sober. Hence why I'm drinking coffee. So yeah, we were talking about Usyk's chances at the heavyweight division. Now, some people disagreed with me and others who believe that Usyk has a great chance of becoming a heavyweight champion. Others think that the size difference is going to be huge, or an important factor, a determining factor. And well, I want to keep discussing this basically. All right, I keep mentioning the example of Chris Bird. I mean, this guy was 6'1.5", 210, 212 pounds. Fought both Klitschko's, fought Vitaly and Vladimir twice. I mean, like, he fought both of them, went 12 rounds. Obviously, Chris Bird got knocked out in 2006 in the rematch against Vladimir Klitschko. But he did fight both Klitschko's before that, when Chris Bird was in his prime and he went 12 rounds. He fought, I remember, Jamil McCline, who, you know, he wasn't a great heavyweight, but he was a big-ass fucking heavyweight and didn't get knocked out. All right? But he didn't even get hurt. He was fucking schooling Jamil McCline. And anyways, Chris Bird is way smaller than Usyk, and in my opinion, less skilled. So I think, I don't know, I always go back to Chris Bird. And I go back to Chris Bird because he was a small heavyweight in this, what we call, or I call, the super heavyweight era, with big ass fucking overweight heavyweights. Alright, I think we have recognized, let me just...
Don't get fooled when they tell you that the crime rate is down in New York. Every time I watch the local news, they're always talking about, well, there was a stabbing here, there was a stabbing there, there was a shooting there, but the crime is down.
What the hell's going on? Alright, what's up, Recognize?
What's up, Butcher? You hear me good?
Yeah, I'm trying the new Hangouts here. I'm using the Hangouts from YouTube, and then did some weird stuff, so now I can control the volume and I can kick people out if I need to.
Uh-oh. So that means people better behave themselves.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's good, because if you're...
So
your sound has been pretty good lately. But, you know, before I couldn't do anything. Now I can just increase your volume. So anyways. So I don't know. I don't know if you heard what I was talking about, but I want to keep talking about Usyk's chances in the heavyweight division. I think we had a pretty interesting conversation last time, and I want to continue this.
Yeah.
What do you think about my example of Chris Bird? Do you think that's it makes sense? Or?
I understand it, although obviously the man, at least in my opinion, so far what I see from Usyk, he's a level or two definitely better than Chris Bird. And I think the level of opposition that Chris Bird might have been up against was a bit of a taller task. Now, again, you know, I think when it gets to the Furies, the Deontay Wilders, the Anthony Joshua, those are guys. Those are three guys that are going to be his biggest threats, right? Not to diminish guys like Gillon White, but Dillian White like literally just has a puncher's chance, and maybe to a certain extent, a guy like Deontay Wilder. Although Deontay Wilder always makes that puncher's chance a reality, right? I mean, when he's fighting in there, it only looks like he has a puncher's chance, but he always wins, right? He always knocks these guys out.
Yeah.
So do I think he can survive? I mean, are you asking whether or not he will stay undefeated without losing? I would probably say no. If he probably challenges all those guys, but do I see it as a possibility that he can be successful, win a belt? Yeah, it's possible. It's very possible he can win a belt. I think he's more talented than Chris Bird. I think he, you know, if he keeps his speed, which I can't see why he wouldn't, unless he just blows up too much in weight. I think his punching power will carry up with more weight. Will he blow these guys out? Like, will he knock them out like the way he knocked out Bell? You know.
No.
But if he catches them, you know, if he's going to catch them flush punches they don't see coming, yeah, he's going to hurt these guys. He's gonna have a chance to hurt them, especially as the rounds as they get deeper into the fight.
Yeah. But you know, because the narrative that I'm hearing is that, well, these heavyweights are they're not gonna respect Usyk's power, which is, in my opinion, ridiculous, because I think Usyk hits way harder than Chris Bird. And why wasn't other heavyweights just, even Klitschko's, why weren't they just rushing on Chris Bird? You know what I mean?
Yeah, Chris Bird always had that ability to sneak one in.
Yeah.
You know, and he could hurt you because, look, yeah, he was overmatched in size, but he did knock out some of the middle of the road heavyweights, guys like yeah, I know he's kind of like a bum at that time, but he did have a lot of knockout power. James Thunder, remember him?
Oh, he was a kickboxer.
Yeah, but remember how he beat the shit out of James Thunder? James Thunder was not respecting his power. Now, Thunder was about a good 240, about 6'4", 6, I think it's like 6'4" or 6'3", 240, where Chris Bird was like 6'1", 210, you know, and he was just like walking. He was just he kept trying to walk down Chris Bird, and he kept getting hit with too many shots, and Bird knocked him out. The funny thing is, Chris Bird, in that same fight, and it's the same fight, after the fight is over, he goes back to the locker room and faints. He needs to go to the hospital.
Jesus.
Yeah, from the hits that Thunder did land, which wasn't that many, but, you know, it was enough to obviously put him to the hospital.
Yeah, I mean, he's a big boy, man, so... But at the end of the day, Chris Bird ended up winning, and we're talking about Chris Bird's power. I mean, when you're weighing over 200 pounds, I mean, your opponent must respect you. You know what I mean? We saw Steve Cunningham drop Tyson Fury. He's a former cruiserweight, so I mean, obviously Usyk's not gonna be like fucking Mike Tyson, but he's not the Paulie Malignaggi either. Now, I wanna go, before I introduce the other panelist. Kenny Price in the chat is saying that Usyk lost to Sean Porter. So what does that mean? Like, so Sean Porter could become cruiserweight champion? Oh man.
I mean, listen, he lost to Sean Porter when he used to weigh 165. So you got to ask yourself, how old was Usyk when he weighed 165 pounds? When he was, put it this way, when he was fighting at 165, he had to be late teens, early 20s, maybe.
Maybe. But what did Sean Porter fucking win in the amateurs? I mean, this guy didn't do shit. Well, anyways, it's a good comparison, I guess. Let me introduce Abstract. He wants his new intro, which is somewhere.
I don't really mind, mate.
No, I know. I'm just joking around. All right.
Can you guys hear me all right? Because
yeah,
I hear you perfect.
Yeah. Oh, cool. Sometimes I don't know what it is. Like, you send the link via a different way, like occasionally, and I for some reason when whatever it is you do differently, I can't do it on my phone, which is how I normally do things.
I'm using the YouTube Hangouts, which is different.
It must be that. All I know is when I was on the Boxing Gossip podcast, they always used to say when I used the iPad, my sound was bad. But if you guys are saying it's all right now, no.
Yeah, let me ask the people in the chat: do you hear us well, or is it? Just let us know if I need to fix something.
It was the people in the chat on the Boxing Gossip podcast as well. So like, yeah, guys, let us know. I can't actually see the chat, so one of you other guys will have to tell me. But yeah, let me know if I'm like stupidly quiet or something as well. How you guys all doing anyway? All right?
Pretty good, man. Pretty good.
Living the dream, yeah.
All right, yeah.
Living the
Everybody
dream.
In the chat says, everyone in the chat says that we are okay to go. All right. Abstract and McGregor, are you there?
Oh, well, I'm here.
McGregor. We also have Stu. Let me just introduce Stu, and then we'll go back to Abstract. Jesus, I hate this fucking soundboard. Oops.
I wasn't bad.
I told you what's going to happen, Price. I told you he's going to be sleeping. I told you the ambulance is going to come. The oxygen mask is going to come out. I told you he's going to miss the main event. I told you all them things were going to happen.
Hi, what's up, Stu?
My internet's fucking sucks.
Sounds fine so far. Don't jinx it. Let's go back to Abstract because he was here before. Abstract. So, what do you think about this discussion that we're having about Usyk's chances in the heavyweight division? Chris Bird. Just give us your take.
I mean, to me, it's a bit of a daft narrative. Like, people have been moving up from cruiserweight to heavyweight for fucking eternity. Yeah, for one. You know, there's people smaller than Usyk in the heavyweight division and up by and large with a lot less sort of like skills. Usyk's fought big guys. I mean, he fought Joe Joyce and you know, I believe he campaigned at super heavy in the amateurs, which is the equivalent of heavyweight. So how he will handle the sort of like the weight, putting on a bit of extra weight and whatnot, that'll be sort of like a fine line and whatnot, remains to be seen. But only because he's, you know, been at cruiserweight for quite a while now. I just think his skill set is going to make him a problem for a lot of the heavyweights. And you know, like this sort of like narrative is like, oh, like, you know, if he gets caught, he's going out. That's true of any heavyweight, man. Like any big hit in heavyweight, yeah, any knockout. If Deontay Wilder catches Big Baby at 300 pounds, I'd say there's a good chance that Big Baby's like to going out. So like, I just don't think it's a good argument personally. I'm a big fan of Usyk. I think what he's done. I mean, I was thinking about this the other day, and I don't know if anybody actually knows the answer to this or not. But whether anybody has become a undisputed champion, I mean, in any way, but at cruiserweight in short time, such as like in less fights, it'd be interesting to know. I can't think of anybody off my head. But I mean, the guy's achieved a huge amount. The skill set is clearly. If you can't watch Alexander Usyk and recognise him as a good fighter, then maybe you should go and watch lawn bowls or like fucking cricket or some shit like that, because the guy's quite clearly an elite talent. And for those reasons, I think just with every reason to suspect he'll be fine at heavyweight. But you know, this is all speculation. We'll find out, because he is gonna move up. That's for sure.
Abstract. Just to answer your question, I don't think anybody's was like undisputed champion with that minimum of fights. 16 fights. He basically wiped out all the top fighters. those are like top 10 fighters. I don't know what Usyk was ranked at cruiserweight going into the fight. I'm not sure what he was ranked, but if you, in terms of like 16 fights, 4 belts, all the belts, and then on top of that, the amount of top 10 fighters he's beaten and within 16 fights, it's got to be like a record. I would think.
I mean, in their backyards as well. If you look at,
in their backyards too, yeah.
That's in Poland, fucking Germany, Breedis in Latvia, and then Gassiev in Russia, and then comes over to the UK and Sparks Bellew, who, I know not really a heavyweight, but he had been campaigning at heavyweight. He had two wins admittedly over the hill and shot David Hay, but still Hay was a threat at points in those fights, and I just think, like, because I've seen videos of people fucking this guy, and I just simply don't get it. If the guy was called Leroy Brown from the Bronx, and came into wore a fucking do-rag for...
Oh shit, you know Leroy from the Bronx? I know him too.
Leroy, I like his do-rag as well. Like that do-rag's sick, man. But like,
he's got a hell of a punch.
Yeah, man. Leroy's me and Leroy are like that, man. Trust me. Like, these people that are trashing.
He'll knock out anybody in a street fight, but in a boxing fight, it's a totally different ballgame.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, but I mean, look, these people would be hailing him as the next second coming of Muhammad Ali after what he's done, and yet they sit and trash him because he's an Eastern European fighter. The same thing they did with Triple G. Same thing. I mean, I know this is going a little bit off topic, but the time that people were trying to trash Triple G, all of the people that he was fighting, that they were saying, like, oh, he still hasn't fought anybody, were all top 10 guys at middleweight at the time he fought them. If you look at Gillon, oh god, the English guy,
Murray, Gillon, Macklin was an ex-champion. He's beaten, yeah.
Was a champion. That was a unification fight. I mean, look, were these guys elite fighters? No, but he can't help who was in the middleweight division at the time. And I just feel like if that was a fighter that they could get on board with, like, I'm just going to say, if it was a black fighter, these guys would be hailing all of these guys as the second coming, and they trash them simply because, I don't know, they're not from where they're from, or the colour of their skin. I don't know what it is. Listen, me personally, I don't give a fuck where you're from. If you can fight, you can fight.
Yeah.
Agree.
I don't care about anything else. Nothing else. Skills in the ring, that's it.
Let's get Stu here now. Stu, are you there? Oh, well, McGregor as well. McGregor, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right, okay. Well, who wants to go first? Talk about Usyk in the heavyweight division. What do you guys think about what people are saying? Will he survive?
You can let Stu go first.
All right.
I'm gonna
Oh.
come back. The internet's cutting out, and I can barely hear the conversation. My internet's let me down. I'll come back in 5.
All right. We'll go to McGregor, and then we'll introduce Cameron. All right, so McGregor, just your quick take.
Do I think he'll do well in the heavyweight division? Yeah, definitely. The guy campaigned most of his amateur career at heavyweight 91 kg. He's fought guys like Joe Joyce. They didn't bother him. He's going to move up about an extra 20 pounds. He must have been about 215, 218 in the ring anyway. He carries a decent amount of power. He's able to go on the back foot and counter punch all night if he wants to. This wasn't his usual game, being on the front foot, but according to the statistics, he outlanded Bellew, he outjabbed Bellew. I mean, in retrospect, we'll see what people think, but I don't see many people outside of the big guys giving him many problems. I mean, look at Povetkin. Povetkin isn't as big as him, and Povetkin gave Joshua a hard time. Evander Holyfield went on to become an undisputed heavyweight champion, coming up from cruiser, being an undisputed cruiserweight champion, and he was also smaller than Usyk. So I don't see what the thing about weight or whatever has to do with it. I mean, there's Joshua, there's Wilder, there's Fury. Well, he can. Would I bet my life on it? No, but I'd say that he definitely caused them issues, and he could beat them.
Well, from what I see in the chat, some of the comments are basically saying that, like, for example, if he fights Wilder, he will get caught at some point and he's gonna get knocked out. I've also heard that Dylan White could also beat Usyk just because he's heavier, I guess, and he won't be able to avoid the punches. Oh, another thing that people are saying is that if you watch how Usyk fought against Glowacki, Brady's, and the fact that he was getting tagged against Tony Bellew are evidence that he might not make it in the heavyweight division. So
okay, so he got tagged by Tony Bellew, yeah?
Yes.
Right? Did you see his face after that fight?
Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't have shit.
He didn't have anything on him. There was nothing on the man.
He wasn't bothered by any of them shots either. Can I just make a quick point as well?
All right, but then we have to introduce Cameron. All right.
Yeah. Just quickly, I don't think, I think there's an argument to say he may not have really been too fearful of their power, because in the Gassiev fight, when he was quite clearly fearful of Gassiev's power, Gassiev hardly landed a glove on him. So what he showed in that fight for me is that if he wants to not get hit, he can definitely do that. He's definitely got the skill to fight in the back foot for 12 rounds and not get hit much. That's my belief.
Yeah. I mean, he's not going to come forward against Dylan White, right? I don't think Usyk is going to fight that way.
I mean, look, the caveat is, yes, of course, there is a chance he could get caught and get knocked out. That is the case for anybody fighting in the heavyweight division when they're going up against somebody that is a known puncher. That's the case for anybody. It can happen to anybody. That's what history's shown us, and that's just what fucking common sense tells you,
Yeah. All right, let me introduce Cameron. All right.
Fuck, mate, it's life, man. You only live once. Make the most of life. Enjoy it. Because everybody's got their weird fetishes, man. And mine just happens to be eating fucking ass.
All right, what's up, Cameron?
What's going on, man?
All right.
What's going on?
You know what we're talking about? Give us your take.
Yeah, or Usyk in the heavyweight division, yeah?
Correct.
Yeah, I think he'll do well. The way I see it is, you got to look at the guys that have given Joshua and Wilder problems. They're guys around a similar size. Like maybe they're natural heavyweights, but Usyk's technically a lot better than these guys that have gone the distance or gave him trouble, especially Wilder. Even Fury, you know what I mean? Like Cunningham gave him problems. So I feel like Usyk will do quite well in the heavyweight division. I see a lot of people saying, he's not going to be able to deal with the power, but I think we've all seen that he's taken shots, of heavyweights and super heavyweights and the amateurs. So I think he'll do quite well, to be honest. I mean, obviously it remains to be seen, right? Like, let's be real, there's no factual evidence to suggest he will do well, but I think he'll do quite well. I think I don't want to see him rushed in with a Joshua, you know what I mean? I don't want to see him that fight. I want to see him fight a top heavyweight contender first, and maybe White if he beats Chisora or someone like that. But I think he'll fare quite well.
All right. Ball Rifle, are you there? All right. Probably going to take a leak. All right. So
yeah, that's my bad.
Oh, all right. So we were talking about Usyk in the heavyweight division. I know we had this discussion before. I know your point of view. Do you want to say something else, like something different?
My point still kind of stands. I think that I'm not going to be convinced that Usyk is just going to stay down at cruiserweight. That was my original idea, is for him to do that. Stay at cruiserweight, just get the easier fights. Stay undisputed, and then you can go down. Already a Hall of Famer, so you can just go down just being, I held this division off for this amount of years, so and so, and I got the belts, and I kept the belts for this so and so long. Even if Glowacki, Breedis won the tournament and said, "Hey, I want a rematch," he'd be like, "Okay, I'll give you a rematch." Beat him again, and then add further credits to his name. But I know he's not going to do that. I know he wants the big fights at heavyweight, so I'm convinced that he really needs to improve to beat some of these heavyweights. You know, I mean, there's a lot of guys that are skill for skill better than these heavyweights and still lost. In my opinion, Luis Ortiz is better than Wilder. You know, he still lost. And you know, people like Povetkin is better than some of these guys. In my opinion, in some ways, he's better than Anthony Joshua, but he still lost. I mean, there's levels to this when it comes to heavyweights.
Mm-hmm.
I think he really needs to really get on his game, like really get on his P's and Q's.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, when it comes to heavyweight division, there's many factors. What's that, Abstract?
Sorry, just a quick point that, like, in both of those cases, those guys, you know, like Ortiz and Povetkin, they were guys that were old. I mean, you know, Ortiz, no one knows how old he is, but we do know he said he watched Muhammad Ali win the world title live as a child. So, I mean, you know, do the maths. I mean, this
but I mean, like you said, heavyweights are old, man. They come in a little later, and they always exit a little later.
Yeah, but
unless you're talking about 1950s.
I mean, there's every possibility that Luis Ortiz is 50.
Yeah. All right. Let's get to.
I would say mid-40s. I would say mid-40s.
There's more chance
of it seem like a Sonny Liston situation.
There's more chance of a Hitler reincarnation than there is of Ortiz being under 50. Let me just say that.
I'm not going to over-exaggerate. I'm going to say he's in his mid-40s, anywhere from 44 to 46.
Yeah, but I don't know, man.
I think he's 47. I think he's 47.
He could be. You could be right, but I'm just gonna guess. I'm gonna take a guess and say he's...
Isn't his wife like in her 30s?
Oh yeah, when you got money, man. Hey.
Salman, you see guys walking around at the age of 80 with like blondes with big fake tits, age 20. Come on.
Yeah, that is true. I mean, I just tried to get like an accurate description. That's crazy.
So I mean, what year was that first Ali Liston fight? Because that's the fight he said in an interview he watched, and that was what inspired.
He could have not been.
That was in the 60s.
Ali Liston?
That was in the
60s.
Ali Liston?
I mean,
are you kidding me?
Maybe it was lost in translation. I don't know. But
he probably, in my opinion, I think he was exaggerating that. I mean, he's like 58, bro.
Maybe Leon Spinks. I believe Leon Spinks. You know?
Ali Liston, 1964.
Yeah, I think he's exaggerating. I mean, he'd be like 55 or 56.
Maybe he watched a video. He grew up in Cuba.
A rerun.
And it was delayed. It was delayed by 10 years.
The actual comment was translated as what inspired me to was as young when I was really young. What inspired me to become a boxer was watching Ali beat Liston for the world title live. That was how it was translated. So I don't fucking know, guys. Man.
No way. He would be in his late 50s right now.
Oh no, nah.
Yeah, you know, if he saw it live, right? That fight happened in 1965 or 67,
65 and 64.
Yeah,
I don't know.
60.
I'm
he would be in his.
That's what you said, man.
No, what I think there's a good chance that
64 and 65. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that would mean that if he was even born in that year, minimum of 64, like he'd be 54 years of age right now.
Holy shit!
That's if he was watching it when he was 0.
Yeah, no, it doesn't make sense. Yeah. It doesn't make sense.
He wouldn't remember that. You know?
Yeah, no, it doesn't make sense.
I mean, sometimes you never know. I mean, I think The Rock is getting close to 50, but I mean, he doesn't look 50.
I mean, he sounds fucking
when he
steroids.
49. I mean, like, and he didn't even win that late in the fight as well. I mean, Ortiz looked more tired than that in, like, the 8th round. I mean, Foreman looked tired. Even when he knocked him out, he looked tired. But
look, if he's in his 50s and he's fighting like that, he's an unbelievable athlete. I mean,
he's remarkable.
That's just unreal. That's just unheard of. Because I mean,
does that show that he's really good, or that the rest of the heavyweight division is just trash?
Well, it's a mixture of both. But
it's a combination.
McGregor, you would have to say that you have to be an exceptional 50-year-old to go in there and whipping 25-year-old athletes' asses. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He was destroying Wilder. He had Wilder out on his feet.
Yeah, and I think the thing The thing is, I think what makes it less likely, because I'm not saying it's likely, I'm just saying he said it. What makes it less likely, because to say that he's really good, he was beaten, I think, 4 or 5 times in the amateurs by Orlando Solis.
Orlando Solis, yeah.
That suggests that he might not be sort of like incredible. I agree. I think he's better technically than Wilder.
He's a better fighter, a better boxer than Wilder.
Yeah,
it's just that Wilder had too much athleticism, too much youth on his side, and he was obviously he was able to overcome it.
And he was able to recover.
Can we just get Stu here because he's been having problems? Stu, are you there? Stu, are you there?
Hold on, Abstract. I think Bucho's speaking. Go ahead, Bucho.
Sorry, man.
Stu, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
Yeah. So what's the topic?
Usyk, how does he do at heavyweight?
Well, I said before the Bellew fight, let's calm down a bit here. Let the guy grow into the division. I mean, there's a massive size difference when you go up to heavyweight. It's all right when you're going up, say, from 140 to 147. It's 7 fucking pounds. But when you're going up to fight some of these guys, you're giving away 30, 40, if not 50 pounds with some of them. One Miller, fucking 100 pounds, I should think. Do you know what I mean? So you got to let him gradually take some fights, warm into the division, and then we'll take it from there. Look, Usyk is. I mean, I think people are saying he's not big enough, but when you look at his size, I mean, he's this. I think he's about the same weight as Deontay Wilder on fight night, and he's only a few inches smaller. So I don't think the size is going to be a factor. It's whether when I thought he looked sometimes against Bellew. I thought when he was trading at mid-range and in the pocket, I think he was coming second best at times. And that was a bit worrying. Obviously, he outboxed Bellew. I'm not stupid. And it was a matter of time before he got him out there. But I just thought he got caught quite a bit on the inside and mid-range. And I just think if that's Joshua throwing them shots, it could be a different story altogether. So there's a lot of... Listen, this guy's, for me, is probably the best cruiserweight. Let's just... I mean, because going up to heavyweight in these days, it's a lot different to when Holyfield was doing it. Because... I just think there were smaller guys back then. Do you know what I mean?
It's true, though.
And the thing as well is, I think the weight discrepancy thing and stuff, I think a lot of the time that will be able to be sort of like offset by the way his career is guided. Obviously, they're not going to sort of like bring him to heavyweight and put him straight in with a big baby Miller or whatever. He needs to be accustomed, and I think he'll just be steered that way. You know, like in terms of matchmaking and stuff. I think, you know, they'll probably put him in with somebody that isn't a massive heavyweight to start with him and let his body sort of adjust to the bigger size. I think it could be offset by that personally.
I mean, there are certain instances where styles do really make a difference. Where, like if you look at Michael Spinks beating Jerry Cooney and beating Larry Holmes twice, you know, his style it could carry up to heavyweights, but there was just one guy who he just couldn't do that with, and that was Mike Tyson. And I don't believe that he just got so hurt. He got beat that bad. I think he got hit one time, and it was just he was out of it, and then he wasn't motivated to come back. I know I
actually heard that. I don't know if it's true or not, but I actually heard that Usyk beat Wilder in the amateurs. So if any of you fucking boxing nuts in the chat can confirm,
I don't know about that. I didn't hear that.
They never fought in the amateurs. 100%. They never fought in the amateurs.
Yeah, that's great.
I saw a comment. I've never heard that.
Who said that?
But I saw it in the amateur. But because of I'm on about Usyk. I'm on about Usyk fighting Wilder in the amateurs.
No, they never fought in the amateurs because Wilder, pretty much like they were in two different. They never were in the same tournaments.
Never. Well, I can't ever remember that.
No, I mean, I know he fought Beterbiev in the amateurs. I think he fought him twice. Yeah. And Pulev's brother as well. I can't remember his name. The younger
Tavel Pulev.
That's him. Yeah.
But what I say about Michael Spinks, he could have fought a little bit. He was just motivated. I mean. You say he lost before he got in the ring. I mean, yes, that's kind of true, but still, he didn't fight for like a while. before he got that mic.
Me too, guys.
All right.
Yeah.
There was a comment.
Spinks was useless against Tyson. Shit his pants, or he'd even put his gloves on. Sat there like a deer in headlights.
Yeah, he was scared.
Waiting to get knocked out. I don't want to hear about Michael Spinks. The guy was one of the most overrated fighters of all time. You keep hearing about Spinks. Everyone talks about Michael Spinks. But what? Come on, man.
What's overrated about Undisputed at light heavyweight?
The heavyweight.
What?
What's overrated about Undisputed at light heavyweight at that time?
Oh, we've had Undisputed. We've had plenty of champions that have, but Buster Douglas was the undisputed heavyweight champion. Are we going to call him an all-time great? Do you know what I mean? So it doesn't mean
I reckon you're just a little bit quiet.
One person to get all those belts. Michael Spinks actually cleaned out a division.
A piss poor division at that.
Guys,
no, bro. I mean, come on now.
Recognize you're trying to speak.
You're telling me Matthew Todd, Muhammad, people like, go ahead. I'm gonna speak on it. Go ahead. Recognize.
How old was he when he fought him?
He wasn't that old.
Let's
How old was who?
Speak, guys, man. Come on. Let's. I can hear you. I can hear you.
I can hear you. Recognize. Go ahead.
Yeah. What?
Abstract. No one can hear what you're saying, bro. Trust me. No, I can't believe it.
Oh shit! I recognize. Are you there? Recognize.
I'm gonna call back in.
No, I can hear you.
No, I think the problem is you because you heard what I said really late.
It's fine now. We can hear everyone. Who wants to go? Let's go. Who wants to talk?
What I was trying to say. You guys hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you. Go ahead, Battle Rifle.
I don't think he's overrated. I mean, there's nothing overrated about cleaning out an entire division. I mean, of course, there was some people you probably could say he didn't fight. Of course, there's always somebody you say they didn't fight, but he cleaned up and he moved at the heavyweight and beat the likes of Jerry Cooney. His first loss. People can say he was old all they want, but old people have gotten their wins against old people have gotten their wins. You can look at people say, oh, Sergey Kovalev beat an old Bernard Hopkins. That old Bernard Hopkins beat a Kelly Pavlik. So I mean, they kind of switch it around every time. And Michael Spinks did indeed, was undisputed at light heavyweight, and there wasn't easy division because light heavyweight was never an easy division.
No, I'm not. Maybe
he beat
it was
White
a bit hard.
Muhammad Kali.
Maybe it wasn't.
He beat Matthew
Side. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe
he beat what's the name?
Maybe it wasn't a shit division.
No, he beat good. He beat good names, and listen, whatever he did end Larry Holmes' reign. So you got to give him that. The first fight, it was a good fight, and I don't have a problem with Michael.
The second one was probably Holmes. I mean, the
second fight was politics. Was just politics. They didn't want Larry Holmes to be a champion anymore.
I feel like if you gave him, I clearly gave him like the first half of the fight, like for Holmes. And then I think Spinks didn't do enough in the later half. I mean, some people, they say they disagree in the comments when I watched the fight. And I was like, okay.
I just all the flashes with Spinks.
All right, let's stop talking about fucking Spinks.
I don't think Spinks is as good as Usyk. That's just my opinion. So I don't. If Spinks was able to have some success, I think Usyk would. It's more likely Usyk is going to have a lot of success at heavyweight.
Spinks did zero at heavyweight. So I don't even know what we're talking about.
I didn't like his neck.
Let's talk about someone that moved up to heavyweight and actually did something at heavyweight. Instead of
but that's not true, Stu.
Hold on.
Are we honest?
Yeah, but come on, what? Robbing Larry Holmes? Is that what you're on about?
No, he beat him the first time.
He beat him the first time. You got to remember, he beat him the first fight.
He took his undefeated streak away, bro.
That was a robbery, bro. That was a robbery.
No,
which one was a robbery?
It wasn't a robbery. Go rewatch the second one.
Hey, Gregor, calm your tone down with me. Calm your tone down.
What time? What? I just said go and rewatch the fight.
Well, just calm your tone down. Speak to me normal.
The first was
you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
I can hear you. Recognize.
Let's calm down. Let's calm down. let's get recognized to bring some sanity into this conversation.
Is anyone going to deny?
No.
Is anyone going to deny that Larry Holmes was robbed in a fight with Michael Spinks?
Well, the second one.
The second fight,
First
yes.
fight, no. First fight, no. He wasn't robbed.
So can you tell me why everyone moans about Holmes getting his
the second fight?
But
no, but I understand what Stu's saying.
I know, because people don't let you finish, do they? Because what I'm saying is, people moan about Larry Holmes getting his record, getting robbed because they didn't want to beat Marciano's record.
Yeah, I heard that.
I'm confused.
If we want to be clear here, there are some clear Larry Holmes fans that do complain about that. But if you want to be honest, he was the one complaining the most. It wasn't like it wasn't like.
Well, so I was right then. So people were moaning about the robbery.
I mean,
second fight, especially.
That's right, bro. I'm saying it was Larry Holmes who talked the most because he was one win away. I can't quote exactly what he said, but he was
because that's all I heard from Americans.
Yeah, I've heard that. I've heard what Stu's saying, and a lot of people were complaining that they didn't want Larry Holmes to break Rocky Marciano's record.
Yeah, that's my point. You know, and this is what I grew up just with everybody telling me. I mean, it weren't just a few. Everybody said to me, Larry Holmes was robbed. They did it to keep Marciano's record. It was just it was. Just
they even made it a racial. They even made it a racial issue. They didn't want a black man to beat Rocky Marciano's record. That's what I heard.
I mean, people. They do that. I mean, when you're at the top, people tend to do that. It's some people that are saying Floyd Mayweather shouldn't be 50-0 because he's fought an MMA fighter. I mean, it's kind of those type of reactions. You expect those type of reactions. If you watch both of those fights, and I watched it tons of times, Michael Spinks did indeed beat Larry Holmes the first time. The second time, you can say it was that.
I agree with that. I agree with Battle. I agree 100% with Battle.
And the funny thing is, if you say, this was a fight that there was a robbery, it was politics. He wouldn't actually beat it if he won anyway. He just would have got tied. He didn't actually beat it.
When he lost his mind was the second fight, Battle, right? You watched it, right? The second fight where Larry Holmes lost his mind, and he was like, HBO could kiss my ass on live TV. That was the second fight. The second fight is what had everybody like, what the fuck would you guys,
You remember the funny thing is, when I watched the fight, I actually got confused. I thought the second fight was the first fight. I thought it was the first time.
No, everybody does. Everybody does.
Yeah, I had to look it up, and then I was like, wow, this is a clear and
I almost think that people some people are trying to promote that intentionally. No, he lost the first fight. I encourage anybody to go watch that first fight. He lost. He got outboxed.
What do you think, McGregor? Is he still there?
No.
McGregor?
All right.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, go ahead.
What do you think about the first fight?
I thought he won by unanimous decision.
You thought who won, Spinks or Holmes?
Spinks won the first fight by unanimous decision. I had Holmes winning the second fight by 4 rounds, even though it was a split decision loss. So he was robbed in the second fight, in my opinion, but he definitely lost the first fight.
I agree.
And let's not just put it off that Larry Holmes just his entire career that he just been getting clear decision wins. I think he did indeed lose to Carl Williams, but I mean, like like I said, it was just a part of the game. I just said whatever, he got the win and stuff like that. I did think he lost to Carl Williams, but whatever. It's just whatever. I mean, if you want to say that, then you can also say there's also Asterix on one point in Larry Holmes' career.
Battle, you're a student of the game, bro. You're a student. I like that. Because I know you're not old enough to be. There's no way you were around.
He's like Luis Ortiz. All right. I have a question. Going back to Usyk. Now, I wrote down some of the levels that Usyk can reach, and I want to know where you guys would rank him. Like, which level he can reach. So I wrote down contender, a weight contender, belt holder. A belt holder would be like, David Haye winning the WBA title. Unified champion, or undisputed lineal heavyweight champion. So I'm gonna start.
Undisputed is a stretch, man. Even if you say even if Usyk just he took a nap and he just developed all his skills in one night, it's still, even then, I say the politics of heavyweight is just so crazy.
Yeah, well, when I mean undisputed, I don't mean having all 4 belts, because that's almost impossible now. But we'll just say lineal
Beat
champion.
the lineal, right? Beat the lineal guy. All
right, so go ahead.
I'm gonna say he has a good chance. Yeah, he has a good chance of at least being a belt holder. Definitely be a belt holder and up. I would say belt holder and up.
And unified and undisputed.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we account this division. You know, we're getting a bit excited here with these heavyweights. A lot of them are fucking average at best. Let's be real. We've got 2 or 3 heavyweights that you can say are world-class heavyweights. The rest are just average at best at the moment. So this is not like Usyk's coming into a stacked division where there's fucking a Lennox Lewis and a Tyson and a Holyfield round the corner. He's got barely anyone there. I mean, Fury and Wilder are going to be fighting, so one of them's going to be out the way for a while after that fight. Probably Fury by the looks of it. If he gets beat, I can't see him coming back, to be honest with you. So that'd be him out of the equation. And then Joshua and Wilder, and let's be real, they do not look dominant heavyweights. They look like they could be. They're, don't get me wrong, they are improving. They're getting better, but let's not pretend these guys look invincible. So, you know, Usyk stands any chance, because when 15 and a half, 16 stones hitting you on the chin, clean, you're going to sleep no matter who you are. So Usyk proved as well, I think, with his accurate punching. I don't think you don't need massive natural power to knock people out. I think if you just can hit people with clean shots when they're not seeing them, they do the job as well. And I think he stands a very good chance.
Just going back to that chat, hold on, just quickly in the chat, Jay Perez says Usyk would become a belt holder. Michael Stark says, someone please explain why Usyk has no shot. People keep saying it, but can't back it up. Okay, go ahead, Abstract.
Well, that's what he's saying, he has no shot. Or he's saying people keep saying he has no shot.
No, he's saying people keep saying he has no shot, and he doesn't understand why. He wants some explanations as to why Usyk will not make it in the heavyweight division.
A lot of the time it's just bias, but somebody doesn't actually like the fighter, and that's what they say. And a lot of the time as well, is people don't know shit about boxing. In a lot of cases, unfortunately, when you go into like little forums and comment sections and that, you get a lot of like, in inverted commas, experts that just don't have a fucking clue what they're looking at. I mean, look, I agree with what Stu said, like, and the thing is, right, like I said before, anybody can get knocked out at heavyweight, right? But I don't think it's a stretch to think he could be, you know, a world champion. Or I think undisputed, like I think McGregor said this, or it might have been the other guy. Is a bit of a stretch now because of the amount of bouts there are and the politics and whatnot. I guess that's really probably more of a question of, do the powers that be want him to be undisputed more than like his ability coming into play. And what Stu said, that was, I lost my train of thought there. What I agreed with what Stu said is that the division is not, it's not, you know, we're not talking about light heavyweight. We're not talking about like a division that's really stacked. We've got guys. We have got a couple of people coming up. Hergovich, I like, who's kind of coming up. But for the most part, a lot of these guys, boxing wasn't even their first sport. You know, like a lot of them, like basketball, like Gerald Washington, Brazil. Neither of those guys, boxing is even their first sport. These are, you know, guys that just came into the game late. These are not, you know, in a world where you've got somebody like, you know, Jarrell Miller, fucking, you know, fucking, and the 2 guys I just mentioned in the top 10. That's not a stacked division.
I think a lot of these heavyweights are overweight, to be honest. You know, you have like Dylan White, who everybody's like, well, he's so big, he's 250 pounds. I think he can lose a bit of fat, to be honest. And that fat is not actually, you know, is working against him, in my
And
opinion.
I
When you
keep
fight
hearing, Usyk's far too small for the likes of Wilder. Yeah, little Arthur Spilker went 10, 11 rounds with him, didn't he? Fucking hell.
well,
Do you
he
know
was
what I mean? That
outboxing
guy's
him, man.
nowhere near Usyk. And look how tiny Spilker is. So sometimes size is not always the case. I mean, when you look at Joe Frazier, I mean, he was I know he was a lot heavier than Usyk, I think, but mind you, he probably wasn't actually. No, he probably wasn't.
No, he wasn't.
He was a short guy. He was a short, stocky guy, and he did well in the heavyweight division. I don't think you always have to be massive guys. Do you know what I mean? It's not always about the size.
And what you said before about be a huge puncher to stop somebody as well. Like the thing with Usyk's relentless. You know, like the way he's like he's on the ball, he's kind of like bouncing and that, and he's in and whatnot, but does not give you any respite, and that it creates this kind of like feeling of I've got fucking no breathing space here. You can't take a little bit of time off. You can't go for a walk for 2 seconds or whatever because he just won't allow it. And you know, there's more like they say, there's more than one way to skin a cat or whatever the fuck that saying is. Like that's very true. Like,
who wants to go on? AA, are you there?
I'm here, mate. I am here.
Since you just got here, give us your take on Usyk moving up to the heavyweight division. His chances. How do you see it?
I put a bet on Usyk to win a heavyweight belt before December 2019, before the World Boxing Super Series. I put that
December
bet
19th.
the World Boxing Super Series. He's no small. He's 6'3", and I think he's a big 6'3", because people see when Tony Bellew was getting ranked in the heavyweight rankings, people were arguing that Tony Bellew could fight heavyweight. So why would people even think Usyk can't step up and mix it with the best? He's not a midget. People are talking about him as if he's like 5'2". He's 6'3". Do you know what I mean? He's coming down to make that weight. At cruiserweight, he's putting weight. He's not going to go into the ring exactly what he's like at cruiserweight. He's going to bring extra weight. He's going to bring that boxing.
How much do you think he's going to weigh?
He's got a punch. Like he's got everything you need. Everything you need to mix it.
I mean,
these guys are talking about
the dimensions are pretty much
the same. You know, these guys are talking about him like he's Arthur Spilker, a small guy. He's not. He's a big guy, 6'3". He's actually about the same weight as Deontay Wilder on Fight Night, I should think. So
the way Facebook people about him, you'd think he was fucking Chocolatito or something like that. People are talking about
look at him next to Bellew. He was massive next to Bellew. Like he was massive. Like, and Bellew's no small, but Usyk will. He's basically, he said that he's not been eating pasta and bread. That's how he diets, like meditates and doesn't eat pasta and bread. So that's how he keeps his weight at that. Once he actually enjoys himself for a bit, he'll come back looking good.
Hi, McGregor. I want to ask you something. So Usyk, which level will he reach? Contender, belt holder, unified champion, or lineal undisputed champion?
Well, belt holder pretty much means can he beat Manuel Char easy.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he can destroy Manuel Char, Kendo, any of those guys, probably Trevor Bryan. Then moving past that, I think he's definitely capable of being the rank one outside of the champions. I do think he could beat Povetkin. I do think he can beat Dillian White. I do think he can beat Joseph Parker. And let's not forget, Joseph Parker's 6'4". He's 6'3". Joseph Parker has a 76-inch reach. Usyk has a 78-inch reach. He's got the same inch reach as Dillian White. And he's faster than these guys by a fuck ton. I think he could beat Cesare. I think he could definitely beat Brian Jennings. Then there's just Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua. These guys can knock anybody out in the heavyweight division.
Mm-hmm.
My only question is, could they really land cleanly consecutively on Usyk if he's on the back foot, nipping and tucking? So do I think he could beat them? Yeah,
I think you make a good point. I think you make a good point about height as well. I think you made a good point about the height and reach. I don't think it really matters if you're 6'3" and have a really long reach. You could be 6'5", a tiny one very often, but basically it's a reach as well. That means, I mean, some guys are quite tall but don't have long reach. Some guys like Ahara Davis, are small guys but have fucking arms that go on forever. So, you know,
like Adonis Stevenson is a prime example.
Yeah, exactly, bro. Exactly. Do you know what I mean? Someone like that. You know, sometimes it's not the height don't always mean anything when it comes to distance. Sometimes it's the reach.
Because wasn't Adonis 5 inches shorter than Tony Bellew, but he had like a 7-inch reach advantage or something?
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. It does help that if your punches are getting there first, or if you can keep someone off you with the jab, just timing the jab, it makes things a lot easier for you. And I think that's why the reach always matters. But it's whether you can fight when someone gets past your reach, and
that's what makes Adonis Stevenson a freak.
Yeah, establishing his jab against Bellew. I mean, it wasn't near the same as when he fought Glowacki, when he fought Gassier, because he didn't give him nothing to hit. I mean,
yeah.
Tony wants to answer that.
Just quickly, I thought that Usyk's game plan against Bellew was to attack, and when you attack, with a guy who's that kind of pace, Bellew's pace, it's very slow counterpuncher pace. There's not a lot of exchanges. I think that's why you got the end result. It allowed Usyk to plant more on his power punching and his excellent punching technique. I think I was talking to McGregor about it. His foot positioning. It's all about, if you look at the way he positioned himself for that punch, that came from the straightforward mentality that he had for that fight, which is going to allow you to get hit, right? It's going to allow you to get hit, but that also has to do with he doesn't really fear Bellew's punching power. Like he may not fear. That's not. He didn't respect his punching power the way he respected. I want to say his fight before that. Murad Gassiev with Gassiev.
I agree, and I think as well. And this is just an opinion. I've got no evidence for this. I think he might have been warned that he might want to worry about being robbed in the UK, because lately, in the last few years, there have been, you know, it's not nice for me to have to say it, but there have been quite a few really fucking bad decisions here in the UK. And he looked like that. He looked like a guy that was intent on stopping Bellew, and he doesn't always look like that.
Yeah, but I don't think that's corruption. I don't think it's nothing to do. I think it's incompetence from people that have never thrown hands in their life, never been in a boxing ring, don't even know what it's like to be punched in the fucking nose. So they just don't understand boxing. A lot of them will hear noises from the crowds, like when Bellew was hitting arms, the crowd were going nuts, and you can bet your life the judges were seeing that.
Yeah, I mean, still, there's a lot of people I say like they could approve on. Like, you remember when he had Bellew to the ropes and he couldn't get off? Like, easily, you know, Bellew was, you know, doing the Roy Jones on the ropes. He couldn't hit him and stuff like that. I mean, it was like, if you fight somebody like a Wilder, when Wilder, most of his defense is just backing straight up. He doesn't really slip. He doesn't really get up under your punches. So you can't easily get him to the ropes. It's just a thing of, what do you do when you get there? Because I know a lot of people, when they fight Wilder, I mean, at least the lower level of competition, they try to just unload, and they know that this guy's head, they know this guy's head is really hard to hit because he's 6'7", so they end up just tiring himself out. Like Chris Arreola when he fought Wilder, you know, they would just tie him up, get off the ropes, you know, take a couple punches and get off. What would Usyk do against Wilder when he's on the rope? Because I don't know what he would do.
Well, he shouldn't get on the ropes. I mean, it's a dangerous fight, obviously, and he's going to have to be aware always of where he is in the ring. He can't end up in the corner. Let me just introduce corruption in boxing.
Let me break it down for all you fucking retards. I'm very happy I placed the large bet as well, just to prove that word is bond. But so who's standing tall now, you little motherfuckers?
Right, what's up, corruption and... yeah, if you show up on the show often, you will get an introduction. All right, corruption in boxing. What up? And you know what we're talking about, so just go ahead.
Yeah, shout out to everybody in the chat and all the panelists, first of all, and everybody listening on YouTube. Look, recognize the Matrix, and then when he initially came on, and McGregor, I think they've made some fantastic points that I want to sort of digress on a little bit. Now, heavyweights, by definition, obviously, are less mobile. They don't have the speed as compared to the cruiserweights. And also, if you look at historically, and statistics will show you, they're not as accurate. And one can argue they're not as skillful. So there is an argument that Usyk's advantage is what he has at cruiserweight. His speed, his skill, his mobility. He could be even more dominant at heavyweight than at cruiserweight. Now, the perennial issue, I think, is if you look at the three fighters and the style in particular that have given Usyk trouble, and it touches on a little bit what McGregor was saying, is that he's a far more accomplished fighter on the back foot than he is on the front foot. And the three fighters that have given him trouble is Michael Hunter initially, Midas Breeders, and Tony Bellew. Both of them, all three of them were counter-punching on the back foot. Now, when you're instigating the fight as he does on the front foot, it is a more risk-averse strategy. You know, you're probing, you're initiating a fight. It's far easier to stand stationary in attack position and just counter and land quick shots. You know, what Usyk was doing, and I don't think people have clearly understood the fight, battle rifle in particular. What Usyk what he was doing is that he initially neutralized Tony Bellew's jab by getting lead hand control, which doesn't mean he's landing his own jab. He's jabbing on top of his low lead hand. So that effectively neutralizes Tony Bellew's jab. And what he's also doing, he's neutralizing Bellew's most virulent punching, and that's his left hook, by pivoting off to his right continuously, forcing Bellew to turn, and that was what was squaring up his legs. So Bellew, in essence, had just one punch, and that was his straight right hand, and he was looping it. And it also reinforces one of Usyk's weaknesses, that because he has a fantastic movement and that he operates behind a high guard, he doesn't move his head because he feels he doesn't have to. But up against the heavyweights, he will have to, because they have the ability not only to hook round the guard, but to penetrate the guard. And that's what Joshua does in particular, because he throws a very heavy jab, because his feet are planted to the ground. So it's a debilitating jab designed to penetrate the guard and then follow up with a straight right hand. So he's going to have to move his head. But also, if you're comparing him, how well can he do against fighters now? Let's take Joshua in particular. Look, Joshua's beaten veterans here. He's beaten a veteran Klitschko, and he's beaten a veteran Povetkin. Who's the youngest fighter he's fought in his prime? Joseph Parker. Ironically and incidentally, a small heavyweight as well. And Parker was able to neutralize Joshua's right hand very easily by his movement. Now, Usyk operates far better than Joseph Parker. I think Usyk has the ability, and I think he will beat everybody at heavyweight. Absolutely no doubt in my mind.
The thing with AJ is, though, when he did it against
excellent point.
AJ's good at setting traps. Like in that Povetkin fight, he kept throwing that jab and then changing what he was doing right, and then towards the end of the fight, he was going as if he was going to throw the right and not throwing it, jabbing to the body and stuff like that, and then in the end, he threw the right and he caught him. So Joshua was pretty good at setting traps. I think Joshua was probably the hardest fight for Usyk at heavyweight. That's my opinion.
Right, I just got to jump in here because BDA's Butcho's popped off to get some to eat, so I'm the host until he gets back. I just want to get Cameron in because he's been quiet and he's been waiting for his turn. Cameron.
Nah, man, I'm just listening to the show, man. Yeah, I'm just listening, man. So I've got nothing to say right now.
I'll jump in.
Go on, recognize. Go on.
So I thought that corruption brought up excellent points, examples of what gave Anthony Joshua a hard time in terms of the veteran fighters, guys like older guys like Klitschko and Povetkin. Not that those guys didn't have their moments, but it also, the way they fought kind of feeded into Joshua's strength about his if you don't take away his right hand with movement like Parker did. You see, that's where it's key for me. Look, the fight that I look at, to me, is don't get me wrong, Tyson Fury, if he's on his game, is probably the most dangerous fighter in terms of wins and losses for Usyk, and even getting hurt, because that's a guy who's 6'9" in packs. You know, let's say a prime weight for him is 260, right? So at 6'9", 260, meaning he's fluid. He's fluid and he's athletic for himself. That's a dangerous. That's an obvious dangerous fight for Usyk, who's 6'3" and has an 78 in arm reach, which is great arm reach for his size, his height. It's great dimensions. But I almost lost my train of thought. Okay, so when you're dealing with the heavyweight division, there's Wilder and then there's Anthony Joshua, and I'm gonna throw Tyson Fury in just for the points that I just mentioned, right? Can he lose to those guys? Absolutely, he can lose to those guys, but can he beat them? That's the question that I ask myself. Can Usyk beat those three guys? And the answer I come up with, not that I would bet my money when the time comes, we'll have to see when that happens. I say I come up with a yes, like corruption does, for the reasons that he outlined. Yes, if you saw what Parker did, for the most of the fight, he took away Anthony Joshua's right. I think Usyk's a better boxer, overall boxer, than Joseph Parker, right? Deontay Wilder's very flawed in terms of boxing technique. Hell of a power. I get all that. He'll knock you out. I think he'll knock out any man in this world. So would Anthony Joshua. So would Tyson Fury. Okay, but at the same time, he can beat those guys, and that's what I come up with. He is the better boxer overall than all those guys. He is the better boxer, and because we're talking about boxing, and because we're talking about a guy who has fought at heavyweight, I know you got people like to say, "Well, it's the amateurs," and I get all that. Yes, to a certain extent, I get that. But at the end of the day, he still knows how to take punches from heavier guys. If he could fight his game, Stuart, he can win these fights. It's up to them to take him out of his game.
Definitely, I'm recognised. You're around that age. I mean, when Holyfield went up, the man, the people were saying exactly the same to him and about him, that he was going to struggle. He wasn't big enough. These boys were going to knock 6 barrels of shit out of him, and he should go back. He should go back down to cruiserweight before he gets killed. I remember it. Do you know what I mean? And this is a guy that who would have thought he would have gone toe to toe with Riddick Bowe and even dropped him. So I know it's
he almost knocked him out that fight.
He did. That's what I'm saying. So no one gave Holyfield.
You mean Bowe dropped Riddick? I mean, Bowe dropped Holyfield.
Holyfield dropped him in the third fight.
That was the second fight.
The third fight.
It was second and third. It was the third. I'm sorry.
To Stuart's point, third. To Stuart's point, he almost knocked out Riddick Bowe, and he was having issues at that time. And plus the other two fights, he gave a great account of himself. And yes, he did struggle with bigger fighters, but he also had a lot of success.
Yeah, and he went 24 rounds with Lennox Lewis. So it's got a draw.
I mean, come on.
Gifted to him. The draw was gifted to him, but he went 24 rounds. Andrew Gallotta went 34 seconds with Lennox Lewis. Yeah. So it just shows that Holyfield proved a lot of people wrong. I think Usyk can do the same. I mean, let's be real. It's all guesswork at the moment. All guesswork.
The corruption. I mean, I agree with some points, but I disagree on other points. I think the thing is what we have to realize. Well, you say you bring up the fight. You say you said you was bitching that the reason he was moving that way, and the reason you said his jab wasn't as successful because he was taking away his left hand. In my opinion, it wouldn't have mattered anyway because the key punch of the fight was Bellew's right hand. So we can say that Bellew his movement nullified probably some success with left hand, but you don't really see any highlights. I mean, okay, you don't see the highlights and see Bellew just getting off left hand after left hand. It's usually his right hand down the pipe that was the bread and butter, and he landed very well. If we look at
he knocked David out with the left hook.
Yeah, but that wasn't his success with Usyk, was it? It was his success with Usyk was his right hand. So
you've never seen him box before because that's rubbish.
How is it? Wait. What? Say your point again.
Tony Bellew in what he's fought in these 32 fights. He starts off with his jab. He's a consistent jabber. He's a power jabber. His sequence of punching is jab, right hand, left hook. He always follows a left hook subsequent to a right hand. So once again, you're deluded.
No, I'm not deluded because he had more success with his right hand. It's very hard to say that. It's very hard to say that. Oh, he's just going to be landing left hooks on Usyk all night because that generally wasn't happening. It generally doesn't happen. The only thing you can say that was the case is when he fought Makubu, and that was when he was on the ropes. So I mean that's not diluted. That's actually my point. His best success was with the right hand. That's what he was getting. He didn't go for it.
Throw the right hand. He could only throw the right hand because his jab and his left hook have been neutralized.
No, that's not generally not the case. You've seen he fought a lot more aggressive with Makubu after he got knocked down.
Made a constructive video showing how his jab and his left hook have been neutralized. Now, let's.
He's right about that, actually. Yeah, you're right.
Hold on. Battle Rifle, look. Why did Bellew tie? It's got nothing to do with the fact that he's come back down from heavyweight. Bellew himself admits it. It is because Usyk had restricted his punch variety to only a right hand. Now, how long can the fighter keep loading? How long can the fighter keep loading up on his right hand?
Are you honestly telling me that people don't fight more cautious when they're in big fights? So when you're saying that he took away his left hand, are you 100% sure that Bellew just didn't throw combinations because he was trying to play it safe until he started getting more punches? Because you can't say that. You can't say that because we can say he fought more cautiously because he was in there in a bigger fight. He threw right hand and he got off. He got off quick and then he got off. He didn't follow up with a left hook. Just like when you say Errol Spence when he fought Lamont Peterson, he wasn't just going out there like what he did with what's the guy, Chris Algieri. No, he threw a punch and he got out of there. He threw a punch and he got out of there. You can't say you're 100% sure that he took.
In the amateurs and in the professional ranks was always a high volume slugger, so that's rubbish once again.
No, that's not rubbish because he's in a fight with an undisputed champ on his fight coming back down from heavyweight. That's not crazy. That's ludicrous.
Let me say something a second, guys. The idea that he just decided not to throw it in the final fight of his career. He went against something he's done throughout his whole career, and just in that one fight decided to not use one of his best weapons. I think that's. And not only do I think that's sort of like
he started using it later on in the fight. It's not the fact that he just couldn't land. He couldn't land it easier.
Hold on, because Jimmy just got in, so I just want to introduce him so he can join in the chat.
I had a bad trip at a wedding in Maine, and it was a stormy night, right? I'm on LSD. Oh, I was fucking freaking out. It was horrible. I'll never take it again.
Yo, what's up, Jimmy?
Up, boys?
It's been a long time.
What's going on, man? Hey, can I just add something about Holyfield? He had the advantage that Usyk wouldn't have today, and that was not only was it during, they didn't really test. Nobody gave a fuck about juice. I mean, there was no VADA. He also, his best boy down in Atlanta was Lee Haney, Mr. Olympia. I mean, they were like fucking frickin' frack. They went everywhere together. They were training in the same gym. So when that motherfucker went from fighting Muhammad Kawi in '84, which was one of the best light heavyweight fights I've ever seen, to fucking when he took on Tyson, that
was a cruiserweight fight.
Cruiserweight. You mean
cruiserweight? Yeah, okay, cruiserweight. Yeah, with Muhammad Kawi. But we know what I'm saying. By the time you get up to Tyson, that was a lot of years of juicing.
Yeah, he was big then, man.
Yeah, man, his traps. You can always tell. Listen, steroids. Yeah. I know.
I disagree. I was talking with a friend of mine, Black Horseman, and he has his own YouTube, and he said that apparently his mom met him before he even moved up to. When he was in heavyweight, when he first moved up, she said she met him at a party, and according to him, his mom said that he was tiny. His legs were tiny, his arms were tiny. The guy was extremely small. So
who was small?
Holyfield when he first
moved up. He was jacked. He got huge. I met him when he was small. I met him when he was big. I partied with him. I mean, he came to Mickey Ward's fights. I mean, he didn't even deny it. He talked about the shit he was on. You know what I mean? It wasn't even a secret. I mean, he sauced out of his mind. You know, I think he was scared of the human growth hormone because he saw all the side effects that was happening back then, because back then it was a lot stronger. They were still using, it wasn't synthesized. It was right out of cadavers' bodies. And he fucking sauced out. That's how, and I was about to say, that's how you can always tell someone when they're saucing. Skinny legs, no calves, and their traps come out of their fucking temples. Because all your fast twitch
what about the case with Tommy Hearns?
What's up? Tommy
What
Hearns?
about the case with Tommy Hearns? He had skinny legs. Oh.
Well, Tommy Hearns,
all right, but that's
a welterweight, and
he was just he was a guy who was crazy how he was able to keep his weight down at 147. I mean, he was a fucking tall dude, man.
He's
147. He fought it.
I can't even picture myself.
Well, he was a skinny. He was always a skinny kid, but listen, he came up in a time too. You got to remember, like, everybody remembers him very kindly. I mean, fondly. The dude who died, I can't having a brain fart right now. His trainer from the Bronx gym,
Emmanuel Stewart.
Emmanuel Stewart. Listen, he didn't fuck around with those kids because he knew first and foremost, right? These kids needed discipline. So he didn't coddle anybody. You fight, you win, or you leave. This isn't a hangout. This isn't a fucking place. If you don't take it 100% serious, you're out. And fucking, like Hearn said, man, his second day there, he saw one of the best kids there who had the most talent. Came in 3 days late in a row. 3 days late in a row. And fucking, this kid had like Golden Glove winner, too, we're talking about. Stewart walked in and said, you empty your locker and get the fuck out of here. Because he warned him twice, which he doesn't normally do. And he told the kid to get out and never let him back. And that stuck with Hearns. And he was like, wow, this dude don't fuck around.
Did you hear what he said did you hear what he said when he said that he kicked him out? He said, damn, I hope this kid comes back because he got scary power. he said
he's thrown out everybody. He even threw out
because he's got scary.
He would let kids come back unless they abused it, and he was very hard on drugs. And if you got caught bringing a weapon into there, forget it. You were done. You know, he knew discipline. He was a great man. I'll tell you, he did a lot for those guys, man. But he was a disciplinarian. But no, getting to Hearns, he just his was the opposite. He wouldn't have done steroids. He would have. I don't know how he got his body down to 147 pounds. To be honest with you, with those shoulders, how wide his frame was.
Hey, Jimmy.
Yes.
Well, hold on. What do you think about Usyk's chances now that he's gonna move up to heavyweight? Can he become a champion or just a contender?
No, absolutely he can. He's not gonna. He's just gonna listen. That kid, he's very talented. He could do it. He could do it absolutely. Because you remember, right? How big is he now? He's still bigger than Rocky Marciano ever was. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but
Rocky Marciano never fought over 198. I know they're fighting a lot bigger guys now.
Yeah.
But he's still, when it's less, you remember too, he does diet to get to the weight he fights at now. He's not walking around with his fight weight, right? I mean, I haven't yet been able to find out. Nobody can tell me his exact walk around weight.
McGregor knows it. McGregor knows it. He said it.
What is it? 215?
McGregor, what was it that he weighed?
Who?
Usyk on fight night.
Reports are saying between 215 and 217 according to like
on the scales.
No, in the ring.
Oh, okay. So in the ring. So the next day, come fight night, he was 250. So he rehydrated to 215 pounds.
Yeah, which tells
me. Exactly. He's walking around.
And look at the size difference as well. Look at the size difference to him and Bellew across the back, across the shoulders, across the legs, everything. He was just huge in comparison.
Oh, that's
he looked bigger than Bellew, more bigger than Bellew than David Haye.
Faster on top of that. That's a deadly combination when I'm fighting a guy who's bigger than me and faster than me at the same time.
Hey, McGregor, what point did you want to make earlier when I was talking about Usyk and the left hand and whatnot with Bellew?
That was corruption.
Go ahead, McGregor. That was McGregor.
Me? I just wanted to say that. Okay, so when you're fighting a southpaw, where are you supposed to have your feet? Answer that question.
Where are you supposed to have your feet? I mean, okay, the general sense. I think I like to challenge notions, but the general sense is you keep it right on level with theirs, and then you of course you step outside their lead foot, you throw your right hand down the pipe, and then that's the bread and butter. Or when you're standing like right in front of them, of course you status jockey for lead hand position because it invites crossovers. You can't establish your jab as quickly. So I like to break notions. So I will generally sometimes step inside the lead foot when I can. But like I said, that's general notion. But go ahead, McGregor.
Okay. Right. So if you look at that and you're talking about Bellew landing the right straight down the pipe, yeah? Usyk wasn't moving counterclockwise. He was moving clockwise to be able to get the jab in onto the body. And when he was doing that, he was allowing Bellew to make the exchange because he didn't respect that power, which then allowed for the situation for Bellew not to be able to throw that left. Now, when Bellew then decided to open up, when Usyk started to move counterclockwise, what happened? He got knocked out.
Wait. Say that again. I couldn't.
When Bellew decided to open up after Usyk started to rechange his rhythm and move counterclockwise, what happened?
Oh yeah,
he started losing the jab battle. He started losing the straight right. He started losing the ability to land the left hook because his rhythm was changed, and then he got knocked out. When you want to talk about someone being neutralized, I don't care what your thing is. I'm talking about if you were talking about someone being neutralized and you're saying you disagree with it, that's essentially what happened. He had 3 punches taken away and he could only really resort to one thing. So when you take out 75% of someone's arsenal, that puts you in a huge advantage. And that's a boxing IQ of a very high level. He was allowing the exchanges when he wanted them.
No, that's my point. It's
Battle. I don't mean to cut in. I just got to say one point. One point to McGregor's point. Okay, I think that it's a misinterpretation by, I guess, how you see it in a way. I fight southpaw too. I used to fight southpaw. What he did to McGregor's point, I did a video. My last video. I'm not trying to promote my channel, but I'm just saying I did a video which shows exactly what McGregor just said. Okay. He took away, he allowed the exchanges by exactly what he said, what he just outlined as a southpaw. He took that away, and if you see the sequence that got him knocked out, what does he do? He throws that looping lead left, because, right, he's an orthodox fighter, obviously, which caused the positioning that Usyk was in, which was in perfect southpaw power position against an orthodox fighter. And the rest is history, bro. That's it. It's a high IQ, but very simple and very boxing fundamental. That's what makes Usyk so damn dangerous.
See, positioning and this is the point where they were. Well, okay, of course, styles make fights, and in a certain degree. But you're right. You guys are right. You corruption. You recognize you, but I personally just don't see it as great as you guys do, because I think that if you're being honest here, left hooks are not easy to establish against. They're not easy to establish against southpaws. I mean, when we look at
of course you're right about that. Go ahead.
They're not easy to establish. Like when you're throwing a left hook and somebody's orthodox, you can easily square off your body and then throw a left hook and recover because your body's squared. But when you're talking about a southpaw, a person can easily move one step to their left. One step to their right, which is your left. And you have to really put your body into it to throw that left hook without you falling out of balance. So it's really like you can make a case. Oh, Evander Holyfield was throwing left hooks all night with Michael Moore. Of course, there's exceptions. There's always exceptions, but it's not easily established. I mean, Robert Easter, he has an underrated left hook, but where was his left hook when he fought Shafikov? I mean, it's stuff like that. You know, to the point
but Battle, there's levels to the game of IQ, and a southpaw. Look, one of the reasons why I'm so amazed at Usyk, right? I'm not saying he's the greatest fighter ever. Don't get me wrong. Let him prove that. I want to see him prove that.
I get you. I get you.
What I find unbelievable, number one, is size, right? 6'3". I'm a big guy like that, you know, more or less the same size as him. And a southpaw fighter with that kind of arm reach, the kind of boxing IQ, the positioning of understanding when who you're up against. He's fighting a guy who's fighting off the back foot. So traditionally, what you do when you fight a guy who's fighting off the back foot somewhat, I'm not saying running, but you know he's sort of off the back foot. You make sure you have your lead right outside of his his lead left. He was moving in and out of that. He was positioning himself inside of that, outside of that. Go look at the sequence of the knockout. Go see where his foot is at. Go look at where his foot is at. Go check out my last video. I'm not promoting my video, but you'll see where he positions himself.
That's what impressed me the most. Oh, sorry.
Exactly. No, go ahead.
Was that? No, that's what impressed me the most about Usyk. I'm late to the party with him because that haircut, he looked like the villain from fucking Charlie's Angel. Man, he kind of creeped me out when I first saw him. So, you know what I mean? But so, you know, but listen, I'm late to the party on him and stuff. I didn't really follow him in the images, but no, he's so hard to hit flush. He is so hard to catch. Like, even when it looked like Bellew until you slowed it down and you see it in the replay, he knows his fucking angles. He knows his foot, like you said. He was dancing him all over. He was setting him up. He put him into the position to get knocked out. That's why he, like the first 2 rounds, you'll always see guys who think is like even Crawford. Crawford's the same way. Crawford's going to lose most of the first 2 rounds because he's just going to look at you. What are you going to do? Let me catch your timing. Let me catch your breathing. Let me catch your count. Everybody has a natural timing unless the freaks like Lomachenko's hands going up, his head going this way, constantly making you mentally tired. But fucking, I'm telling you, like those thinkers, man, they take the first, and then once they've learned your weakness, to them a weakness anyways, they pick you apart. And that's what he was doing.
You won't find many guys
Bellew credit, mate, because
well either for 12 rounds. You won't find. I'm struggling to think of any guys that size that can move that well, like, you know, bouncing on, you know, on the balls of their feet and everything for 12 rounds. Like, I mean, that you know, that and his IQ. Reckon I just said it. Like, I think how quick of a thinker he is in the ring, his ability to adjust and stuff. Those are going to be some of his biggest assets moving up. And I think he, in some aspects, he's just on another level to anybody I can think of a heavyweight at the minute. He's just got tools that they ain't got.
I'm shocked by the weight gain. I didn't realize he was that big. If he really rehydrated anywhere near 215, that means that motherfucker is probably closer to 235, 240, which is kind of where Wilder walks around. And if he's 6'3", and if he's walking around 230, and how much better he's going to feel if he only has to cut down to 215? No, I absolutely think he can do very well.
I personally think he's going to be 225, 227. Maybe even 230, in around the Joe Frazier kind of range.
Right, I wouldn't doubt it, right?
I mean, used to it. But like to bring up to that point, it's not even so much you say, oh, they took away his left hands. When you talking about the heavyweight, they don't even need them. I mean, we can say Anthony Joshua's best punch is probably his left hook, but does he really need his left hook to beat Usyk? Not really,
I actually think Anthony Joshua's best punch is arguably his right uppercut.
Yeah,
his uppercut is nasty. His uppercut is nasty. But I think but like I would just go on off, you know, if I can do like a quick snap in my head of his highlights, his left hook is really good. But you know, you can say his right uppercut. But I mean,
he has a selection of shots, Anthony Joshua, like that he can get a lot of power behind and a lot of traction. He's a very fucking difficult guy to narrow down to just one punch because he could knock you out with the left hook, he can knock you out with the right hook, right uppercut, and he can knock people out with the straight right down the pipe too.
Yeah.
Is Stu out there?
Knock out with the straight right.
Stu, are you out there, buddy?
No, Stu dropped.
No, Stu dropped off. He'll come back on. I think, Jimmy. He'll come back on.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Who was talking now? McGregor. Go ahead, McGregor.
No, it's just his shot selection is honestly, when he lets that go, he doesn't just throw like one or two. Like he throws a variant of combinations, Anthony.
Joshua, yeah.
Yeah, I've been fortunate enough, in my opinion, to actually see him live 5 times in person. Just tremendous to watch what he can do. He has scathing flaws in his defense, like scathing ones, especially like against Povetkin when he started going into the Philly shell and he started doing the shoulder roll. I was like, a guy with an elite left hook like could just pounce in and just destroy him because he's going off balance, going backwards.
Like Wilder,
I don't think he's.
But I mean,
Wilder could. I also think Dillian White might capitalize on that. I think that would be something Tibbs would have noticed.
Dillian White caught him with something. I forgot what it was.
He caught him with a left. It was a left hook.
It was a check left hook.
He threw a right uppercut. and then he threw a left hook.
Hey, let me ask you, UK guys.
Those guys
Drop Parker with. Same punch Dillian White dropped Parker with, isn't it? That left.
Go ahead, Jimmy.
Hey, I was going to ask the UK guys because you guys would know more. You're, in that area. Is he a partier now that he's got all the fame and the money and shit? Is he seen out at night at the nightclubs and you know what I mean? Or do you hear about him out? Is he a homebody? Is he a partier? Basically, what I'm getting at, because that's going to tell you a long way of his longevity. If he's out at the clubs every weekend getting fucked up and shit, do you guys hear that?
Is this Anthony Joshua?
Yes. Is he a partier?
Anthony Joshua has a select group of friends, and he doesn't really go outside of that perimeter as such. You don't hear anything about Joshua in clubs. You don't. Okay. The best you'll see is him on holiday in Dubai or something like that. But you see him more or less talking about his family, being at home, still living with his mom half of the year around, like being around his family, being around his friends, the people who are close to him. Not so much going out, but he goes to the gym on the regular.
All right, thanks, buddy. I appreciate that.
Yeah, he's got a kid as well. I mean, I have seen some pictures of him in the club a couple of times, but like McGregor just said, it's a one-off.
Occasions, right? Parties, weddings, maybe. Who knows, right? Everybody has things in life.
I've seen him in Nando's more than I've seen him in clubs.
Yeah.
He's in Nando's more often.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you could
Joshua comes across as a really balanced sort of guy. He comes across as a level-headed, quite a balanced guy. To me, anyway, that's how he comes off.
That's why there's a lot of jealousy for the kid. I see it. I see it as even when I hear UK criticism of him. Look, don't get me wrong. There is some legit criticism. I'm not saying there isn't. But even the UK fans that are not, they're not too big on Wilder, and they have some criticism of him. A lot of it comes off salty. A lot of it just comes off kind of salty. Now, I'm not talking about critiquing his boxing style. I'm talking about calling the man a coward and et cetera, et cetera. And,
I know where you're going with this.
Yeah, And listen, I follow him on Instagram. I was going to tell you this, McGregor. I follow him on Instagram. And there's this nice-looking girl that I follow, and she follows me, but she follows Anthony Joshua. She knows nothing about boxing. Thinks she's just purely attracted to him, right? And just to give you an example, she posted a picture of Anthony Joshua. You know how girls are. And she posted a picture of him flexing his muscles.
Day of the day.
What was it?
Day of the day. You know how they post that?
Some shit. What you just said, Battle Rifle. What? Say that again. Bay of the day.
Yeah.
Right. She put up something like that. She goes, "This is my ideal." She said, "This is my ideal man."
Like the Wednesday Crush kind of shit as well, yeah.
Some shit like that, right? So listen, she's a young girl. She likes Anthony Joshua. What's the problem? You had to see the hate she was getting on the post. She had no idea. So I DM'd her. I said, because I know her, right? I know her through the family and all that stuff. And I said, listen, take that off. Take that picture off. She goes, what's the problem? Jesus Christ. I was like, there's this whole Anthony Joshua, Deontay Wilder beef. She's like, yeah, who is that guy? I don't even know who he is. Talking about Deontay Wilder. And to be honest, to be fair, she didn't really know who Anthony Joshua was. She just saw a picture of him. And that was it.
Yeah, I mean that thing that what you were talking about just now recognised about the way some of the fans are sorry. There's a section of UK fans that are just kind of they're a bit brain dead to be completely honest. And what they'll do is they'll latch onto a certain fighter, and then whatever that certain fighter says, they just parrot. And a lot of times you'll get it'll be Fury fans, and Fury himself is quite salty when it comes to Joshua.
I get that too.
Him and Wilder they're both the same. And for me, it's jealousy because the guy is making a lot of money and they can't understand why they're not. For me, that's what it boils down to: the popularity and the money and stuff.
And I think when I say this,
we'll just parrot what. I mean, I actually heard Wilder saying in an interview. So I've just beat the number 2 in the division, and now I'm going to beat the number 3 in the division. Talking about Ortiz and Tyson Fury. which he's obviously putting himself at 1. So what, like,
right? I get it. I get what you're saying.
I mean, like, how you can actually try and say that with a straight face that AJ is not only not number 1, but he's like not 2 or 3. It's just like,
yeah.
I mean, like, how you can, that's salty. I mean, it's salty.
It's good banter. I get what you're saying. I do
that all the time. You know, there's some people I see and I'll be like, man, this guy's getting easy paid money. I know this is completely random, but I have a strong dislike for the director Paul W.S. Anderson, because he's the director of the movies Resident Evil, and his movies are always terrible. But he already knew that if I make it in America, it's probably not going to do well. In Japan, they're gonna eat it up. They're gonna pay all this money to see it. And he's like, he made $1 billion with that franchise. And I think the last one I seen, it was so bad. I was so angry with myself. I wanted a refund. Like when I saw that movie. Go ahead.
Is that why every time I fucking turn on cable, one of those Resident Evil Apocalypse 9 for the last time is on?
Bro,
Jesus Christ. They're horrible.
Let me tell you, I dare you to get a friend and watch it. And don't get drunk. You know, just actually watch it. Don't drunk watch it. And he would probably be angry with himself. It gave me a seizure. It almost gave me a seizure just watching the movie. It was so badly edited. But I mean, just, you know, go ahead.
I personally don't think there's any good movies made now, but that's another whole topic. I think the Socialist Warriors are scared comedy away, is scared. Everybody's afraid to be anything. But anyways, that's another subject. So back to boxing.
Shit about the political correctness, fuck that shit.
And I'm just saying, as far as boxing, if we're talking about the people that hate it, it's very rare that people are just hated because they're just, you know, absolute, you know, douchebags outside the ring. If you say like an Adrian Broner, if you say a Gervonta Davis.
Well, let's be honest, man. Fucking, it's social media, man. Social media is a vile cesspool, and people say shit they would never say in person. You know, like they wouldn't walk up to Anthony Joshua. These people calling him a coward, man. Hey, you're a coward.
Smack the taste out of their face.
It wouldn't even be Joshua.
Did you see Big Baby Miller when he was at that thing and he was talking shit on media, and then when he was saying shit to Joshua, when Joshua said, "Get the fuck away from me before I slap the taste out of your mouth," yeah? Baby Miller kind of just sunk. He just sunk. And this is a big guy, a professional boxer. And he kind of just sunk into his shell a little bit. And he backed way back. And then he started yelling from a distance again.
Yeah, and people love to flop. I mean, you would probably, a paparazzi would come up and insult you. And then I think there was one case where a guy was insulting Kanye. Kanye grabbed the camera and threw it down. A guy, like he hurt his neck or something. He had to pay him like $10,000 or something like that. It was crazy. I mean, that's what people do. They know that you can't, as a regular
photographer.
I mean, he did beat up some photographer, but it was one guy. He just threw the camera down, and then he had like he hurt his neck or something. Because you know how the strap is attached to the neck, and he pulled it off his neck. Yeah, you know, stuff like that.
By the way, Kanye got weight on him though. He may be like 5'7", 5'8". But I seen him in person. He got weight.
He got Tank Davis weight, man.
Yeah. And you know something? It actually looks better on him. He looks like a stocky. I was in shock. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I'm a much bigger man than he is. I'll probably smack him and end that fight. But he looks big enough to he could be a problem for like dudes his size and whatnot.
Yeah, he'd hurt you. He's a big enough man.
Yeah, he's a big enough man.
Jimmy.
Yes, sir.
Your take on Floyd Mayweather and that whole Ryzen fighting in Japan circus, basically.
I think it was kind of funny that fucking he had, I actually was on Twitter earlier and I saw that. Yeah, no, I mean, right? He did a fight poster. He met with the promoter. He did the fight stance. He put out a release saying how it was going to be a great fight, an entertaining fight. And what happened by the time he landed back in the States, in that, that 24-hour travel time, that fight just got absolutely eviscerated by everybody. And he realized, like, oh man, there's too many fleas on this dog and ain't gonna hunt. So He backed off. But it is what it is. He's trying. He's desperate because, again, he's got hanger-ons. He's got family members. He's got a gym that's not making any money. None of those fighters are pulling in a bank. Even the fights they fight in, counting promotional fees and everything else, I doubt they're even drawing a plus side besides Tank Davis. I mean, who else has he got who's pulling? Haney, that young kid who's got some talent, but he's not pulling any money now. So you think about him. He's got all these cars, houses, fucking planes leased. And he's got no income. His one income he had coming in, the Bitcoin shit, or, the Cybercoin, that got all tied up. All his money got invested in that's being frozen by the federal government right now. So, yeah, no, he's got to fight. He's got to do something or start selling some jewelry.
I wonder if the pictures of the two of them standing together at the press conference had anything to do with the big over. He looked like he's standing next to a child. It's like... And
they're standing there with their fists up and with the promoter standing behind them. I mean, these were pitches. Floyd's been in 50 fights, 57 fights, not counting the images. He knows what what they're doing when they're standing there in that position with the guy behind them, with the fucking backdrop. And then he's actually doing pitches with them facing each other and overlooking the city. I mean, these were promotional pitches. They had a fucking poster made. They wouldn't have done all that. You know how much money it costs to hire security, do all that, go through all that bullshit as a joke, just because they wanted to see what Floyd would say?
I personally think it was like they were all together. They were doing this as a way to just promote Rising to the mainstream audience, using the biggest name in combat sports. I don't care about it either. I wasn't going to watch the fight. I'm glad he's not getting into the regular 5'2" Pikachu. I'm just happy to see that, the man's trying to do his best to make money, and he probably did get a healthy paycheck for that shit. I don't care what anyone says. I guarantee.
Yeah, he didn't do anything. Just show up. That's pretty much it.
He just showed up. He said at the conference, my opponent, Tension. Then immediately later, the next day, he makes a statement. I didn't know who my opponent was, but he said who he was. He said what he brought to the table. He did know. We all know this, but they were never fighting. It was just a way to promote Tension. Tension and Risen's promotion has gained over 100,000 followers in the last week. Tension gained over 87,000 followers in the last week. People in Ireland, in the UK, in the US, they all know who the fuck he is now. People actually know who Tension is. A random 5'2" kickboxer who we never heard of.
Now, did Floyd Mayweather buy into this kid or something? Or is he backing him financially?
I don't know what he's doing, but I personally just think that they paid him money to promote Rising.
Because he said I'm proud of him too. That was a weird. That struck to me. That was an odd thing in his statement when he was talking about me. He said, "And I'm proud of him." It was a weird thing. So maybe he bought into it. Maybe he's got maybe threw some money in towards the kid. I don't know. I know he was at the football game yesterday. And did you see that interception? The fucking player came over and handed him the football. And then he fucking was on his diamond phone with TMT on it and shit.
That's a good point that McGregor made, though. I can see that. I hadn't thought of that, but there's a big market out there. It's a big fucking market. If you can make somebody into a bigger name, I can quite easily see how whoever the money men are behind.
All right, but my only thing is,
it's probably the Yakuza, man.
Let's pay Floyd a bit. Let's pay the kid a bit and whatnot, and let's get some exposure. That's plausible to me.
Did somebody just say Yakuza?
Yeah.
I said it's probably the Yakuza are probably involved in this.
You know what, because listen, he's a fucking known gambler, right? He gambles heavy, and the way the mob used to run gambling here in the States, the Yakuza still runs it hardcore in Japan. And he said it was a terrible. Did you also read his statement he left on Instagram? He said it was horrible. It became a terrible vacation or a terrible time he had. But he didn't elaborate into other specifics. It was just weird that he said that.
Guys.
Floyd Mayweather has and this is I heard from several people, he does have a good reputation for interacting with fans. So for instance, I got a friend that his son got married. His son was getting married, so bachelor party in Vegas. Supposedly he went up and he got pictures with him. Now I wasn't there obviously, so I gotta take his word for it. But apparently Floyd bought him 2 bottles of champagne. sent it to just for the guy going up to him and saying what's up to him. He's like, oh, that's Floyd, and he hugged him and took a picture with him. So he's like, yeah, I'm here celebrating my bachelor party, and next thing you know, he's getting 2 bottles of champagne sent to his table.
Is somebody playing spades?
No, I can say that he is. I can say that he is really good with people. Like when he came over to the UK, we were me and my little brother. We were going to one of the events for the signing thing, and it had ended. And he was leaving. He was getting into a car. People were pressuring him. And he saw me there. He literally saw me there, and I just like said, "Floyd, could you sign these gloves for him? He loves you." And he literally walked past the security, walked past 8 people, and signed a set of gloves for my little brother, who's only 9 years old. That's the type of guy I've seen him to be. Like, people talk about him being flashy and stuff, but I've seen him be actually like just a genuine guy as well.
No, that coincides with that type of temperament. What Jimmy was saying, the gambling type. Those are the guys that are usually you see when they try to like come off as monsters and like I'm unapproachable. You can't see me. They're usually like really nice people once everything is calm, and they'll take your autograph like you just said. They'll give you an autograph for your little brother, or just to salute you if you came up to him and showed him respect. He'll send you 2 bottles of champagne. You get what I'm saying? Like, he's that type of person.
Yeah. Wait, hold on. Before we continue with this subject, we have Kiwi Boxing. Are you there?
Yeah, man. How are you?
He's a heavyweight expert, as I like to call him. So I want to get his take on Usyk's chances in the heavyweight division. What do you think? How far can he go?
I think the sky's the limit, to be honest, with his amount of skill. I mean, there's a lot of people saying he's not going to stand up to the power of the big boys, but he's been in the ring with big boys prior to being a pro. You know, he took care of Joe Joyce in superb fashion. He's been in there with Junior Farr, went the distance, not a problem. These bigger guys are much slower. It's pretty hard to land flush on them. I know Value did land on him a few times, but I believe he wasn't training to try and avoid everything from Tony Bellew at the same time. You know, if he's going to be fighting a guy that's 6'6", 250 plus, he's going to be training a bit differently. I guess the question is if he's going to put on maybe 15, 20 pounds, is his movement going to be the same? And that's a question that we'll find the answer to when he does get in the ring with these bigger guys. But I think he's got a good chance of doing some real damage. There's maybe the top 3 or 4 guys. It's a bit of an uphill battle for him, but I still think the amount of skill he has and the ring IQ he has, he's got a good chance of beating a lot of the top guys.
Yeah, I agree with you completely. Do you think that Usyk needs a tune-up?
Nah, not at all. Don't think he does. I think he could go straight into the ring against Anthony Joshua on April 13th and put on a good show. Whether he could win or not, I'm not going to make a prediction, but yeah, I think he could still do well, straight in the deep end.
All right, I'm going to ask everyone. Do you guys think that Usyk needs a tune-up, or he can just go straight at the champions?
I agree with Kiwi. I think I said this after the fight that I don't think if it's up to Usyk will take on Anthony Joshua right now, because that's just the type of mentality he is. I think the best time to beat Anthony Joshua will be right now. He's just gonna get better if he's not in peak form already, in peak prime of his career. Yeah, I think I agree with Kiwi that I think that if it's up to him, he would do it. The question would be, what is Eddie Hearn? What is the plan there? Because he might have different plans.
Hey, this is an interesting question. So, obviously, a big fight would be Usyk against Anthony Joshua. Do you put Usyk against Dylan White, and then risk that Usyk Joshua doesn't happen?
You know, personally, I think those kind of fights against a Dillian White or a Jarrell Miller or possibly even a Tyson Fury are probably the most dangerous for Alexander Usyk, because those guys will do whatever they can to get away with the fight with a lot of roughing up and a lot of kind of dirty tactics. And if there's going to be a 30-pound plus size difference, if guys are going to lean on him and bully him around, that could be like the kryptonite for Usyk. But against a guy who's going to box him, I think he's got a really good chance of beating anyone.
I could tell you his trainers would want him to take a get in with one heavyweight first. Although I agree with Kiwi, who, how you doing, buddy? I've never met you. Obviously, New Zealander.
Yes, mate. Yeah.
How you doing, brother?
Yeah.
Nice to meet you, buddy. I agree with you. I think he's got the talent. What else is he going to learn? You know what I mean? He's fought enough now. He's not going to learn anything more. The only thing they might want to be a catching thing. Can he just catch from a heavier hitter? But they already know that from sparring and stuff. They know this kid's jaw. But, yeah, I believe he's not going to get any better. You know what I mean? What is he, like you said, what is he going to learn fighting? Because it's so limited and there's so many different, in the few, really only a handful of people because of where his status is already. Who's he going to fight at heavyweight? It's only a handful, and they're all so different. What, I mean, is he going to learn anything fighting, say, Joseph Parker? Is that going to get him prepared for Anthony Joshua? No, not at all. Exactly. See what I'm saying? So what is it besides a cut, a broken hand, or a number of other things, right? We could go wrong. So if you're going to fucking take a bite at the apple, might as well go when you're freshest.
But won't Usyk have to change his style since he's fighting bigger guys? So he's going to fight differently. Would
he just probably be more like he did against Gassiev, more protective of his jaw. He'd just fight more in that style, you know? Yeah. He obviously fought Bellew different than he fought Gassiev. He wasn't as defensive-minded. Gassiev's got a cannon. So he was protecting, and fighters know, they know not everybody carries that cannon deep either. A lot of guys are they got a blaster when it's the first 3 or 4 rounds, and every round that happens, a lot comes off their punches because a lot of power punches depend too much on their power, and they think they're going to get everybody out. And when you're running right and it's 4 o'clock in the morning, you're freezing or whatever, and you're like, fuck, I don't want to go as hard today. It's always in the back of your head, I can knock the dude out. You know what I mean? Guys who aren't fucking knockout artists have to rely on everything. So, I don't know. I've always found out with guys who hit hard, they always seem to take a little out.
Jimmy, there's some sort of noise coming from your mic. Yeah.
There's some clicking.
Oh, my thing was unplugged. Sorry. My shit was unplugged. I'm sorry about that.
That's fine. Don't worry, man. All right, let me introduce Apology.
Speak of the devil, and it shall appear. She just wanted the drama and you two to fight over her. That's what women do. Your punishment must be masturbate. I lost respect for all of you.
Bitches are stupid. I treat them like shit. That's how you get one to eat a dick. Never be sweet to a bitch.
Yo, what's up, Apology?
Hello, everybody. Sorry, I don't have my good mic on me. I'm at the gym, so I won't be saying too much, but how's everybody doing?
Apology, how you doing, kid? Man.
Yeah, all good.
Apologies.
Working out late.
Trying to impress those chicks at university.
I told you his mindset. He's laughing more. He's working out. I'm telling you, man.
He's less grumpy.
Everything's changing.
Yeah. All right.
I lost a lot of respect for your apology.
Guys, what's the idea?
It's amazing what a bit of leg over can do for a man, isn't it?
Yo, Stu's back.
Stu, what are you doing, buddy?
I'm up.
How you doing, Stu? How you been?
How are you, Jimmy? You right?
Good. Everything good with you and your family?
Yeah, not too bad, bro. Just getting by. You know how it is.
Excellent, brother. Okay, excellent.
How are you? You right, yeah?
Oh, I'm just still dealing with some shit almost wrapped up soon. It's been a long battle with it, but get back to my normal life when that's over. But everything's going good. Pretty excited about the boxing, although I wasn't too excited when I saw the PBC's lineup for Fox.
Oh,
I wouldn't be too happy if I was fucking that Fox executive. I would imagine that dude who signed that contract mustn't know much about boxing, because if he does, imagine you being your ass on the line. You signed a check for $50 million. Because does anybody think any one of those fucking cards are gonna pull a big share? That shit's gonna get fucking beaten out by reruns of Love Boat.
Yeah, you're good point. Before we get to the PBC, I just want a simple question that I want to ask you guys. Then we'll move on to the PBC cards that were just announced. Usyk, at which weight do you want to see him at? How much should he put on?
I would say I'm going to say 225.
225
at the scale. I think 225. Look, it's a bit of anecdotal for me, right? It's like I'm more or less the same size as him. I'm about an inch shorter than him. So even at 45, I still have very good movement for being my height in 225. I would think a superior athlete like him, it would be he would make it work, obviously to the max. So it's a little bit of bias on my part, but at the same, the mark I see is 225.
All right. Makes sense.
Yeah, I recognize 225.
What weight was he on the scales this last fight? Does anybody know what?
McGregor said he was 217.
Yeah.
No, on the scales, like in the
on the scale, he was
200.
He was 198.8. He was 198.8.
So that would be a 25-pound difference in fight night. Think about it. So if he was to fight at 225. Because regardless, you go by the scale of what you are for fight night or the night before, which is totally a different animal because you do everything different as a heavyweight. But that would still, because then he hydrated, like you said, to 215, which is about normal. It's actually a little below, actually, for a guy that size. But anyways, so that's a lot on the shoulder girdle to carry if it went the distance. It would take a lot to get used to. So I think he would probably about 215. 217, but I could be totally wrong. Could come in at 230. But if I was training him, I'd want him to come in at 215 on the night before the fight, because I wouldn't want too much of a drastic weight difference on him. But that's just my opinion, for whatever it's worth.
Yeah, no, it makes sense because
Go ahead.
Just quickly, we saw David Hay. When he was weighing 230 something. To me, he was too big, and he lost his speed, which was supposed to be a factor because he was a cruiserweight moving up. But at 233 or something like that, he was so slow, man. So I don't want to see Usyk slow like that. What were you going to say, Apollo?
I think Usyk should know like what weight is best for him. Because think about it, he used to fight at super heavyweight in the amateurs and heavyweight in the semi-professional boxing, the WBS. So he should know what's best for him. So I think everything's sorted out. We don't need to worry too much.
Anyone else?
No, I think on scale, I'd be happy with 215, 217, maybe rehydrate up, come in at about 223 in the ring, 225, around there.
Bingo. Yep. I'm right with you, McGregor.
Because that allows them to rehydrate overnight. It allows them to feel healthier instead of coming in at 225 and trying to stay there overnight.
That's what I meant. That's what I meant. Yeah.
Yeah. In the ring about 223, 225. Let them get a rehydration of about 7 to 8.
Exactly. So like you said, precise 225 night of the fight, right? So not coming in the night before.
Right. No.
225 in the ring.
To what you were saying, Jimmy, and what McGregor was saying, inside the ring, 225 would be nice. So let's say, like you said, he's on the scale 217. He puts on no more than 8 pounds. That'll give him.
And that would be only a 10-pound differential from the last time he fought, which isn't that much. It won't be drastic.
It won't be drastic. Exactly.
Because weight, everything affects that. That affects it affects your red blood cells. It affects, because the more muscle you have, the harder it is to get oxygen into it. That's the reason why muscle guys, everybody thinks muscle-bound people get tired so easy because they don't train or do cardio. It's because it's so hard to keep mass oxygenated. So it's, you know what I mean? I wouldn't go too dry. I think that's right where he should be. And I think he's going to do well.
Stu, are you there? Probably not.
Yeah, I'm
All
here.
right, so,
I'm here.
so the question: at which weight?
You are?
At what weight do you want to see Usyk at?
Well, you got to be careful. If he gets too big, then you're going to take away his attributes, because that's what happens when you put weight on. You actually slow down. Your punch is not as sharp. You know, you feel sluggish because it's probably not a natural weight for you to be fighting at. So you've got to be careful. I'll probably go down the route McGregor said. You know, 115 pounds is what he like. Because I said earlier, I think he weighs the same fight night as Wilder does on the scales, and so there's not really a lot of difference between him and Wilder. So for me, for him to go to 125 on fight night 128, that'd be around the weight I'd be looking for.
People in the chat: 225, 223, 220, 215.
Yeah, I'd say about 220, and I think there's an argument to say he might even sort of like be a bit better, because I mean this is a guy that's quite fit anyway, and if he's walking around as like we spoke about earlier, like or whatever, I think there's an argument to say he might be just more comfortable and more sort of like feel more natural at that sort of weight. So we could even see. Him. He could get a bit better. In fact,
see him with a bit more energy, even, and that's pretty scary in itself.
Yeah, but it could go either way. I mean, some fighters put on the weight and it makes them healthier, like Kell Brook. He looks a different man at 154. But there's some fighters that when they put the weight on, they look sluggish and they don't look sharp enough. And they don't, so it just goes either way, really.
Carl Frampton looked better when he moved up. Right?
With Usyk, I think Usyk could probably be a natural heavyweight. So I think the move up's not going to be such a problem to him. I think with David Hay, what is that noise in the background? With David Hay, the man had to put on a hell of a lot of muscle. And I don't think Usyk has to do that. Usyk only has to put a few pounds. Where Hay had to put on a hell of a lot of muscle. They reckon this guy was just eating himself to death just so he could make the minimum weight to make heavyweight. But he couldn't make heavyweight. He had to
You're talking about David Hay, right?
Yeah. The guy was so small.
He turned into a fat fuck.
He had to start eating and blowing himself up just to make the heavyweight.
Yeah, like David A had a bit of an obsession with ending his career at heavyweight and becoming like he about that kind of shit. Amateurs, mate.
Jimmy, can you make your mic, brother? There's some terrible noise coming from it.
He trained in an amateur gym here in the UK called Fitzroy Lodge. My grandfather worked there years ago, like as a trainer, and David Hay was a guy that was obsessed. The Hatman's spoken about it in a video as well. It was a guy that was totally obsessed with getting to heavyweight. Like he had a bit of a complex about it, and I've heard this from a few people. I think that's one reason why he kind of like his body just broke down, relatively early, is because like it was unnatural for him to have that much mass on.
Yeah, David Hay too much.
Another thing that was unnatural with him is he's vegan as well. I've got a strong opinion that your body needs certain minerals and whatnot that you don't get from a vegan diet. But he certainly has an obsession with gaining a lot of muscle at the time, didn't he?
Yeah, there's a lot of.
So he was a vegan gaining that kind of muscle weight.
Wow, I'm of the same opinion. There's quite a bit of research that backs it up, actually.
No, I completely agree. Like Jimmy'd probably be able to go more in depth on this because he seems to know the side of bodybuilding better than I would. But I think David Hay struggled with something called muscle dysmorphia, which is essentially like anorexia, but only with how you see yourself. You're never big enough. You're never strong enough. It's about your size, your mass, etc. And it was something that eventually killed a popular guy on YouTube called Rich Piana due to steroid use, etc. And I actually see that issue with David Hay, a guy who's self-involved with his own image to a high level.
When you're a guy like him, like who's obviously an elite athlete, right? To become a professional, even if we don't think he's the greatest or anything like that, he obviously was good enough to to make some noise in the boxing game and make some money. So those kind of guys, it's like it's what makes them great, but it could also hurt them. It's like nothing is good enough for them, and it's that anorexia effect, except that it has to do with in this case it has to do with muscles, right? Gaining too much muscles, and I could definitely see that happening with Haig, because Haig, when he was a cruiserweight, he was slim. You know, you could see the slimness. He had muscles on it, but you know, it was more of a model's build where he turned into like a bodybuilder.
Yep, I'll buy that for sure.
When you're using when you're fighting styles, an athletic style where you need your legs and explosiveness, and you need to get fit. When you start putting all that muscle on, your body isn't used to fighting that way, and that's when the joints and the tendons start to give way in you, and that's why his legs start giving way, because he's too top heavy. Them legs were not built to take that sort of fucking top weight, and that's why the fucking knee and the calves and the fucking toe and everything else went. Not the toe was a joke, but
yeah,
fucking toe, the fucking toe.
You know what I mean? I was only playing, but that's why the knee went top heavy as fuck, man. I mean, let's be real. Fucking
inactivity.
Bruce Banner at the top, no, the Incredible Hulk at the top, and then Deontay Wilder at the bottom. I mean, it's just not going to work, is it? You know what I mean? And his legs are just not built for that sort of mass. I mean, that's why a cruiserweight, it was perfect weight for him. He just looked fit, strong, athletic. But then when he started piling all that muscle on, he slowed down, got sluggish with his punches, slow, and then his legs started to give way, and then that's all she wrote. When you're an athletic fighter, fight like David Haig, your legs go. It's over, isn't it?
That's why I always thought that the weight loss from Deontay Wilder was probably purposely done on his part, was because he's so bottoms. His legs are so small for his size, right? Like he's got really skinny legs. That he said, you know what, maybe dropping weight, it allows me to it allowed me to be more balanced, and I think that's what could have helped him against Luis Ortiz when Ortiz had him in a whole lot of trouble.
Hey Rick, anybody in the panel, did they know what's going on with the little Fox, the Fox announcement thing?
Somebody mentioned it.
Well, do you mean the PBC fights that are coming up?
Yeah, because I'm not in front of a TV or a computer or.
Yeah, Jimmy, you back? Jimmy wanted to talk about the PBC. So.
Yes, sir, I'm back. Sorry about that. I got fucking
perfect.
Bounced.
Right on time, because we're gonna talk about the PBC and the card that they just announced, or the cards, I should say, that they announced. I don't have them in front of me. Yeah, let me check. I have a tweet. It has the fights. All right, here we go. So, main events: Charlo against Monroe Jr. I think that's a good fight. Keith Thurman against Josecito Lopez. I mean, come on.
Sorry, who was that first one, Boots?
That's an okay comeback after 2 years playing the Golden Child.
Yeah, but that's a main event.
That's a main event.
Main event on a Saturday night on Fox.
Thurman against Joselito? Oh,
yeah.
Oh, wow.
I mean, hey, name that fight again. I didn't hear that fight. What was it?
Keith Thurman, Josecito Lopez.
They've dragged Lopez out of his grave. Right?
That's a great fight. Come on, Stu. Come on. You're being too much of a critic now.
So it's 5th round knockout.
Fourth round knockout.
Yeah. Yeah.
In a half-empty place, and I mean, Barkley's in a fucking terrible share on television.
Lopez could never get that gut.
I'll tell you what, you might as well fucking dig Jake Lamar out of his grave and put him in there.
This guy's a 140 pounder. He's not 147.
Oh yeah, for sure, 140.
Nah, not now, because he's had that gut for a while now.
Yeah, he's fat.
And if honestly, Monroe Charlo might have been a decent fight if it was between a couple of his, half the people he talked about he was going to fight. I mean, this is getting ridiculous. Is this dude ever going to fight anyone? I mean, it's been 2 years, Jimmy. Right? I mean, almost 2 years back to 160. Jimmy, he's fought two nobodies. I mean, two guys, and I know it's not on him because you can tell by the shitty tweets he's not happy about it.
Is there anyone out there that actually wants to watch Willie Monroe fight? I mean,
No, but it's a good test. Not a test. It's. I mean, what else do you want to? We can't have Charlo against the people that are on the other side. You know, on the zone.
I'm not so hard on Willie Monroe. I think he can do a little something. I don't think he will win, but he lost a credible competition. I mean, let's put that out the way.
But the problem is, the Vegas odds are going to be ridiculous. It's being billed as just a stepping stone. Charlo's gone out there to knock this kid out to make himself look good. But the thing is, Charlo doesn't have the fan base yet to put him on as the main event as a cherry pick knockout fight. That's not going to do the brand any good. It's not going to do Charlo any good. The shares are going to be horrible.
He's going to have to
on top of that, I don't think he knocks him out.
I don't think he knocks him out. Question to the American guys: what network is it going to be on?
Fox.
It's
a free.
It's going to be. It's going to be on free TV.
Yep.
Correct.
That's one way of getting your brand out there, though. That's but listen to the casuals who've never.
All right, but McGregor, I didn't mean to cut you off. I'm on a super delay here, brother. But the last two Fox cards, right, were billed the same type of way. They were getting had less viewing than it was the fucking reruns of The Good Doctor and that other Doogie Howser thing. Listen, terrible shares. Shares that were like laughable. They finished last, though. They're not getting any. Like in the demographics in the teenage, like you would say, casual base, they said the 18 to 49 was the worst. They had like nobody watched it. So they're not even, you know what I'm saying? So he's not helping himself. He fought on an undercard of a pay-per-view would help him. Or if he fought over to the UK, fought on a tough UK, champion with how vibrant you guys are fans. Think about it. If he took a fucking plane over there, fought any one of you guys over there at middleweight, he just the name recognition, the fan base he would develop, that would develop more than knocking out Monroe on a fucking Saturday night when nobody's watching. And in Christmas season too, which is notoriously terrible for boxing.
To some degree, Jim, I think some way, somehow the fans just know where to look for when they talking about their biggest fans as far as boxing. As far as the casual fans, they won't really know this person fights on this television network, but they know who to follow because you can tell PBCs know who they're putting on PBC, but they're actually putting on the CBS. But then again, they know the lower age fighters they will put on Bounce TV, and those barely get any views or anything. But CBS, they get tons of views. So, I mean, of course.
Let's keep it down the middle there. I think I'd rather watch Tucker Carlson on Fox than fucking Jamal Charlo.
Well, I mean, and it is what it is. It's statistic facts, and they put them out within 2 days after the fight. You can see how horrible they do. And I'm just saying, it's just because of the inclusivity, because Al Heyman doesn't want to work with, he will not let his guys, especially guys who he's earmarking as, face of the dealership. He doesn't want to let them go across the pond or go fight for Hearn. And now that it's getting even worse, and you got Arum calling him a cancer, that didn't help it, So it's just, there's only so much he can do on the PBC side. And if they're not willing to work with other people, it's just not doing themselves any good.
He has a welterweights
fight would be a better fight as well anyway, but it speaks to that point you just made, Jimmy. Like obviously, Hearn fighter. Isn't it?
I mean, all the names they were putting in front of this Charlo, and then this is what they come up with.
Can I tell you what I was told? And I know I'll tell Bucho, I'll tell you after and stuff because I don't know if I'll ask him first so I can say his name so it doesn't seem like I'm just making shit up. But that what happened, the reason why Arum said that, I guess he heard some shit. This kid didn't hear what he said, but I guess Arum, in the industry, it's not a huge industry. And, when they reach out to talk to different fighters, and it's not Heyman himself, but these guys who represent him, Lou DiBella and other promoters, these small, mouthpieces. And they were told straight up, like, point blank, Bob, and that flipped Bob out. So Bob realized right there that he's still, I don't know if Al's still trying to take it over like he tried when he first announced the PBC. I don't know if that's his intention. If he's trying to hoping these platforms are going to burn out because he's on solid ground with Showtime and he's got Fox money. But you would think he would at least, out of the 5 fights announced, he would have put on one decent one. And it's just like you keep waiting. You got 200+ fighters, fucking $1 billion, and you fed us dog shit to the point you went broke.
Yeah, that's where I complain. That's when I complain because he
it's just
had
the same
everything.
Shit over and over and over again.
He had
that's
everything.
That's the thing about the zone. Whether you like the DAZN cards that have been put on, they've been exciting cards, really exciting fights. I mean, even Usyk Bellew I thought was an exciting fight. So, sometimes you don't have to have the big names to put on exciting fights. We know that Charlo Monroe is not going to be an exciting fight. It's just not. It's going to be one guy on the back foot surviving and Charlo coming forward trying to take his head off. It's just not going to be an exciting. It's not going to be competitive. I mean, we just want to see some competitive fights. And Fox, if Fox think they're going to attract people, to their channel to watch mismatches, then they're horribly wrong. You've got to start putting on competitive fights.
Can I just say something about?
Successful? It's because he's a risk taker. Al Heyman is not. Al Heyman will not put his fighters against dangerous fighters with nothing to gain. In other words,
Al Heyman will end up like Frank Warren, where he becomes the laughing stock.
Right.
He's bankrupt, they say. But can I just say something about the zone and Eddie Hearn? Because Stu mentioned him. I want to say that card that they had in Massachusetts, who was it? Andrade against, was supposed to be against Billy Joe Saunders, but whatever. That card had a great atmosphere. I was like, what the fuck? This is in the US? Because let's be honest, most fights that take place in the US, in the East Coast, the crowds are not that enthusiastic. But this crowd was great, man. And because they played it correctly.
My hometown.
Yeah.
This is where it's a fight area here, big time.
You know what?
Also, but they played. Okay, hold on. Let me just get Stu in. Stu, what were you gonna say?
I was just gonna say, because Eddie Hearn is a world-class promoter. He knows that he get local fighters in. I mean, Heyman will get a fighter and a West Coast fight on the East, vice versa. Hearn's got the idea of building these names in their hometowns first. You can't build someone nationally if you're not a star in their own fucking town.
And the thing is, as well, with Canelo now signed to the zone on that massive deal, I think it's pretty inevitable. I'd be very surprised if other fighters didn't follow. So, if Heyman is going to try and sort of like take over again, I think it's a naive. I mean, I just don't see that happening now. I don't know what anybody else thinks. I think.
Well, boxing's a fluid sport. There's no home base, right? It's forever changing. At one point, it was Atlantic City, then Los Angeles for a while. Right now, for Heyman just to book New York, the Barclays for 5 years, everybody's fighting there. Doesn't matter. So you don't build your fighters up like someone just mentioned at their own home. I mean, Spencer's fought once in Texas. That motherfucker imagine if his last 4 fights, he could have been selling 40,000 seats at Cowboy Stadium. It's just, every fight is different. See, Heyman comes from the entertainment where he treated every band the same. Listen, it was the same thing. You big promotion, you just set up tours in advance, and he thought he was just going to roll everything out and it was going to come back the same. It's not working. It's not like that.
The PBC tour.
It's
yeah.
Ooh, by Beyonce.
Recognize. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, let's not forget he got sued by Beyonce.
What?
There's just no promotion.
I'm talking about Al Heyman when he was a music promoter.
Well, I mean, if you don't want to promote your fighters, right?
Promotional skill. He hasn't got a clue how to promote a fighter. Like you said, you do not get a guy like I said, Errol Spence, right? Who's from Texas, and then have him fighting in California or somewhere like that.
Coney Island. He had him fighting in Coney Island, for Christ's sakes.
Jesus.
This is what Eddie had. I mean, that's why he brought boxing back to Boston, because Andrade is a Boston guy.
Yeah,
and, he's not a big name. He's not a big name in America, so you've put him up in his own town first.
There's a reason Ricky Haddon picked Boston. You know what I mean? Haddon himself wanted to fight in Boston. He said that. He's like, I want to fight one time in Boston, because he knew it was such a, and he did. He came here and he put on a great show. 2005.
And Eddie Hearn also played the Irish side by sorry, hold on, my mic is okay. Yeah, by putting on Katie Taylor, famous Irish boxer, and then they played the national anthem.
I did try to say that, but I was interrupted.
Oh, what was that?
No, I was trying to get to that bit, but I got interrupted.
Sorry, buddy, that was me.
No, that's what I'm saying. I was going to say about the cocaine with the Irish connection. That's a good, smart move. You know, the Irish are going to get behind that girl. And when he was in Chicago, if you ain't got Chicago Fire, what did they do? Stick Adamic card where there's loads of poles. So you get the poles in. And that's how you build up venues. That's why the atmosphere was good, because Eddie Hearn knows what crowds to look for. You can't get a guy from, say, fucking New York and then have him fighting in, say,
California.
San Francisco. It just wouldn't make, California. It just wouldn't make sense.
You know what? You know what I like about Eddie Hearn? You know what impresses me the most about Eddie Hearn? The kid grew up with a silver spoon. He grew up in the business, so right there, he's been bred with it, right? But as much money he has and the celebrity he has, which in boxing, huge in UK, but at any fight when he's involved here, he's walking the halls by himself. Like, he's up talking to anybody. This dude's promoting by, I mean, Al Heyman won't even talk to Steve Kim. And fucking Eddie Hearn will talk to me. There's the problem right there, in a nutshell.
Interesting. Well, nobody talks to Al Heyman, right? I mean, the guy's hiding somewhere. Let's continue with the PBC schedule here. So we had Charlo Monroe, main event. Keith Thurman against Josecito Lopez, main event. Danny against Granados. So like Danny Garcia against Adrian Granados, main event. What do you guys think about that fight? I think it's a good fight, but I don't think it's a main event. Nobody wants to.
Danny against Granados is the best fight you just mentioned.
Yeah, but is it a main event? Yeah, it's a good fight. Don't get me wrong.
But if it's an undercard, I agree. But out of the names you just, the fights that
you're cutting off, man.
Yeah, that's the best turd of the bunch.
No, out of the group of fights you just mentioned, it's the best fight. I would make that if I was going to sell a main event and like I had to put all fights.
You're cutting off, man.
And I'll tell you this: if Danny doesn't stop him, we know his power is gone.
Do you think his power is gone? Do you think his power is gone, Jimmy?
I think he's lost some of his power. Yeah, he's got older. I don't think he's bearing down the same. I think he's got too much personal shit. He's a big partier. He's very involved in his sister's career. I just don't think he's...
yeah.
I mean, I've heard that too. I just heard he's not the same kid in the gym anymore. It happens with a lot of fighters, like rock singers. I say it all the time, rock bands. They get the money and they lose the fire. They don't get that same fire in their belly.
Yeah, especially after losing like 2 fights already. You know, maybe it's getting to him. You know, he's not longer undefeated. All right. Last main event from the PVC will be Leo Santa Cruz against Flores.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Which Flores is this?
Fucking hell.
Guys, please. Yeah.
Hey, are you,
By the way,
sure this is the PBC? Are you sure this is the PBC roster, or is this a Frank Warren card?
Oh man,
terrible.
Imagine that. No, seriously, imagine you're sitting after you sign this guy, give him a $50 million check, and you're waiting. He's, don't worry, I'm going to roll you guys out. I'm going to trust me. We're going to get some shares. We're going to build the sport up on this fucking thing, right? And every time they fight, that last one, I'll tell you right now, is going to be a dog. And I put it this way, I'll never call the show again if they re-sign them after this deal's done. No fucking way is Fox going to re-sign them.
How much of the $50 million is going to be spent in these 4 main events?
There's not going to be even well, Danny might get $1 million.
Yeah.
Charlo might get 800,000.
Okay, so he's no longer overpaying his fighters anymore, right?
No, not at all. He doesn't have the money to do it. Doesn't have the capital. That went the first 2 years. But now he has to do all these pay-per-views. What about that? What about the fact that PBC announced 3 pay-per-views right at the end of the year? Back to back.
Al Heyman's like the local drug dealer who fucking like does everything really blatantly and hands out cards. He's not bothered about the long shot. He don't care if he goes to jail. Just make as much money right now.
He still owes the investors from the last one, because listen, I checked. It's easy to check. You just go to his LLC, which is his tax ID. These cards are being put under under Media Group LLC, Al Heyman Media Group LLC. It's the same LLC, the tax ID number as the PBC prior. So that means without a doubt, because he had the judgment against him, that these investors, any pay-per-views he does under that LLC, he's got to give the money, he's got to give a proportion back to Waddell Reed.
So he should. So he should. Taking all that money, we all know what he did with it. He put on a shit fest, $500 million. I mean, fuck me. I mean, he deserves to. He deserves to be losing money. He deserves to be getting that money off him. Well, he's a disgrace to boxing. He really is. I keep hearing about. Oh, can you remember when we heard? Oh, Heyman's the most powerful man in boxing. Don't make me laugh.
Well, people were equating power with money. Yes, he had the most money. He had the most. Yeah, but that didn't make him the best.
No, because he's like a politician. A politician's got no power when all he's doing is doing what his funders are telling him to do. This guy's funded, and just like Heyman's funded, he's doing what his but he's ripped him off. And Fox is stupid enough to give him some more money. It's like a fucking chicken going to KFC. I mean,
Stu, let me ask you, what do you think Garcia Spence will do for pay-per-view numbers off the guesstimation?
300,000.
Oh yeah, no, you're much more kind than I am. I don't think it does 100. I don't think it does 150.
I'm gonna be honest.
200,000.
Right.
I don't see them. I don't see it outselling Ward Kovalev.
How much did Ward Kovalev do?
130. They did 130.
Yeah, probably.
Neither of those guys have a name on par with Ward Kovalev, in my opinion.
It's not going to do well. It just won't. Listen, Garcia that kid's been born with all kinds of God-given talent, but is way overpriced in value with himself. And he thinks he's more popular, I guess, than he is, because Spencer's got talent. The fight, I think, is a mismatch. I don't think Garcia is going to be able to take Spencer's heat. And the fact that if he was going to do this, why wouldn't he have waited another year when it was harder for Spence to make that weight anyways? And then that other one, there's the third one. Oh, Broner Pacquiao. That'll do numbers. That's going to be the only one. But Pacquiao's going to pay. I don't know if Heyman's prepaying because the fight's taken here in the States. And Pacquiao owed, the last I heard, was almost $20 million in back taxes. Now there's going to be compound fines and whatnot. So yeah, it's probably closer to $30 million. So he has to pay that before they'll give him a license to fight in the States. So that means he's got to pull in some big dollars to make this fight worth it.
Oh, they're gonna have to fight in the press conference and something staged. Yeah. I mean, they're gonna have to resort to that type of stuff.
Going to have to do 1 million buys for it to be financially really feasible, for any kind of big money to be made for Pacquiao.
I don't think he can do that.
Like I said, to make money, you can hype the press conferences up. You can fucking get them to do fake beefs. It's not going to mean anything if the fight's shit on paper. It was like when was it Hatley, when Hatley was giving Charlo the mouth, and he hyped that fight up, and they actually got people, I suppose, wanting to watch the fight, but just the normal boxing fans, casuals weren't really caring about Charlo Hatley. So it didn't really, and that was another where it was just a mismatched fight with a bit of beef in the background to hype the fight up. I fell for it, but not a lot of people are going to fall for that bullshit. You have to have, strong names on paper, and the fights are going to be worth 4 o'clock in the morning to watch. Definitely not. None of them.
And they think Broner carries more weight than he does. Broner's not the fight. I mean, he's not. I mean, how many was he lost? 3-4 times?
3.
Right? And Pacquiao's going to be 40. I don't know.
I don't think a lot of shot that guy, man. He's done. Broner's done, man.
Yeah,
does anybody on the panel think Broner has a chance in this fight?
0, none.
Fuck no. His power's overrated. His speed's overrated. He's flat as fuck. He's getting knocked out.
He's an alcoholic. Probably. I'm just guessing that. But
is he fat now?
Is that pay-per-view Pacquiao, Broner?
Yep. Oh yeah. It's 3 in a row. Hey, Stu. 3 in less than 3 months. He's doing right after Christmas too, mind you.
I'll tell you what. they're not even going to be. They're going to struggle just to pay Pacquiao's fucking fee.
Yeah.
Right, and on top of it, and they have to minus that taxes. I'm sure Pacquiao wasn't just coming all out of pocket. I'm sure somebody helped him.
One thing I've noticed about Pacquiao, as much as many people love Pacquiao, the days of them spending $80 to watch him, I think, are over. He's shot to pieces. What's the point? Do you know what I mean?
There's no trust. You're cutting off, Stu.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
I think the days of people paying $80 to watch Pacquiao are over. I think he's shot to pieces. What's the point?
Well, his last pay-per-view didn't do anywhere near what they thought.
It was a pay-per-view, right?
What's that?
When he fought Matisse, that was where? I don't remember.
Nah, that wasn't
a pay-per-view.
No, that was ESPN.
That was
ESPN.
It was. I know. Bob lost. Remember, Bob came out and said he lost money on the last two Pacquiao pay-per-views. He came straight out and said it. These cost me money. So.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's why he didn't mind if Pacquiao left, because
exactly he was doing cartwheels, and I heard that. I mean, he was pumped. That was an albatross around his neck.
So Jimmy, explain to me how the hell this move. Why would the PBC want to hire Pacquiao if he has no longer any value?
Because I just don't think I think everything's he saw. I think at the end game, he wants Pacquiao Mayweather. I think when it's all said and done, that's where initially where they want to go. And I think Pacquiao had to do he has to stay busy, and why not Barona? I think that's like you said, it's somebody could take apart. I don't think it should be on a pay-per-view, and I think people are going to be surprised, and it's just not going to help. And I don't think the Mayweather fight's going to happen either, because when Mayweather sees the numbers aren't as good, I think he's going to say he wants more of a cut. And by the time that rolls off, does anybody really want to see that disaster again?
Yeah, after what happened the first time. Yeah.
So
I think that they're a little bit too optimistic with what they can do with Pacquiao. I think they failed to realize that us boxing fans.
So Barona and Pacquiao is still pay-per-view. It wasn't a rumor.
What's that? Which one?
So Barona and Pacquiao is still pay-per-view. It wasn't a rumor.
Yeah.
No, nobody said it was a rumor.
Nobody said it was a rumor.
No. I'm not saying you did.
I know. I wasn't saying you did. No, I know. I wasn't. No, did I come? I was smoking weed. I was holding it in. So did I sound like a douche? Sorry about that.
Because when I first heard it, I thought it was like a rumor. But apparently it is pay-per-view, huh?
Yeah.
Well, fair, and they're gonna want $99 probably, or at least $89.
Is anybody gonna pay for that?
No.
Hell no. Hell no.
I mean, I'm talking about you guys first.
No, I won't either. No. It's just funny how PPC, the whole edict was free, and it went from free to now PBC is the most expensive. I mean, because you count the Showtime bill, and now any fight they're going to have decent is going to be on a pay-per-view. It's just weird that he would go to a pay-per-view model, and that model seems to be dying.
Wait.
If I have nothing to do today, I'll pay for it.
Well, yeah, I'm not paying $70. But by the way, wasn't the PBC's motto, like 3 years ago, they're gonna end with the pay-per-views? It's gonna be the end.
That was what he said. That was Al Heyman's edict. Okay. That was part of the announcement. We are taking back boxing off, not just pay-per-view, but getting it off premium cable and back on the free TV. That was the whole deal. And that
was that a lie?
Completely the other way.
Jimmy,
but you know,
when you're playing,
I'll stream it. I'll compromise with them and I'll stream it.
Well, it's just funny too that it's so funny because obviously Al Heyman, there's a lot of Floyd Mayweather fans on, follow Al Heyman, and it's so funny because of course you go to any YouTube link from 2 years ago, the visceral hate Pacquiao got from the Heyman fans. That now we're talking about him like he's the second coming. It's just so funny.
Yeah. I mean, of course. now it's one of the guys, Pacquiao. I mean, about Stu, you want to say something? You got caught off.
Yeah, I just the PBC is starting to get like Bellator, isn't it? You know, when you've got UFC, you've got Bellator. That's what's
well. They still have Spence.
Where all the irrelevant fighters just go now, do you know what I mean? And it's just, I know it's a bit harsh on them because they've got some half decent fights, but they're not fighting anyone. They're not even fighting each other. They've got a camp here where I thought it was all going to be in house, and they're all going to keep it in house. Especially now, all the champions are starting to shrink down. They don't want to do it in house anymore. They just want to find these bums off the street. And
Hey, you're 100%. You're 100% right, Stu. Hey, but hey, Bucho, remember when I said to you remember when I said Floyd Mayweather's more involved in the PBC than people realize. I said, I guarantee he was involved in all the phone calls to get all these guys. And now Mayweather comes right out and says he's a part of the PBC.
Yeah.
And that you know what I mean? Remember? I was like, I knew it.
You were right.
Remember, I was saying the whole time I've been saying Floyd's a lot more deep in the PBC than anybody knows.
He's like a silent partner. He's like a silent partner.
Go ahead.
Well,
man, I never thought the first thing they would do for Pacquiao for switching promoters is just get a pay-per-view fight. And I'm not just saying that it was just such a dumb idea. You know, maybe they have something in mind, but you know, I personally wanted to see him, you know, fight some of these guys with PBC. I know there's a good chance that he's probably going to fight somebody like a Berto or Josito Lopez, and they'll be like, "Oh, he's fighting the top guys." There's a good chance that probably is going to happen, but I just, you know, like I said, it's weird with these boxing promoters and stuff like that.
Well, I think it goes back to what I said earlier. I think it has a lot to do with investors in court this past summer in July, where's our money? And it says right in the papers that they get a slice of pay-per-view. So I think he has big names. Here's a chance to make some pay-per-view, at least get some of that monkey off his back, throw them the money. So I think obviously everything has context. I think that has a lot to do with it. I think he's trying to make everything he can a pay-per-view. I don't know if they didn't release the findings of the court, or I haven't been able to find them yet.
I think Heyman, you correct me if I'm wrong, Jimmy. I think Heyman is like a schemer, and I'll explain what I mean by that. Like he'll get these big contracts, right? Knowing that, you know, these big money investors, knowing that he's not going to be able to deliver, but he always initially, but he always knows that he has the fighters, and you could correct me if I'm wrong at any time, Jimmy. He has the fighters that he could put them on pay-per-view, and that could bail him out. But he'll take the money, knowing that they're going to come back and say, "Listen, we want our money back. You know, you haven't brought us our money back."
Well, I mean, that's your 100%. Listen, that's been his MO from off the rip. I mean, he went to a hedge fund, and he wasn't able to get that money. He had to actually have a guy from HBO, Larry Greenberg, go in on the deal and sit down with Waddell and Reed. And, I mean, basically they announced...
Did you say Greenberg?
I believe that was his name. I could be wrong, but I believe that was his name.
You got Echo Chambers. I know what you're talking about,
yeah. But he first announced to the vice president, and I can't remember his name now at HBO, he actually made a comment in an interview that he said Heyman would call him all hours of the night and was fixated on saying, "I can take over boxing. Give me 2 years and the right investor, and I would own it all." And because he thought he could just manipulate it all into one, you know, it was supposed to be the PBC belts. You know, remember the walk when they first came out? But I just think he got all this investor money, and then he did it again. See, he's smart enough to get money up front, which is the worst thing to do. It's like prepaying a girl for a blowjob. You know what I mean? You don't do that. You pay that bitch after she's fucking smoked you. You know what I mean?
She'll tell you, she'll tell you that she forgot something in her car.
Oh, my jaw's bothering me. Let me just spit at it. No, fuck that, man. You pay that shit after. You know what I'm saying? And that's what he's done. So, but what it is too, he always has crash test dummies between him. He's got a Lou DiBella. He's got fucking some other Mickey Mouse promoter on paper. So there's always foremen to get in between him. And then his contracts, a normal fighter's contract, 6, 7, 8 pages sometimes. Those things look like fucking novels his fighters get.
I used to tell him 50 up front and 50 when the job is done.
Yeah, because...
I mean, these people...
Go ahead, Stu. I apologize, Stu.
Yeah, man, these people keep giving Heyman money, man, and it's just like that guy that you know that everybody knows that you lend him a tenner and you never see it again or whatever.
Man, look, I had this dude.
Everyone's got that friend.
Emily.
I had this. I guess you can. I know. I wouldn't say he's a friend. I mean, I guess you say he's kind of a friend. I'm gonna call him Sed. His name is Sed. And I remember this dude had a script, man. He had a script because I used to memorize it. I used to say it as he used to do it. Hey, bro, you got $1? Nah, bro, I don't got it. I know you got $1, man. Everybody holds a little bit of money on you. You don't pay for gas, man. You don't got no food to eat. Man, nah, bro, I don't got no. Look, bro, look. If you give me $1, I'll bring you back. I'll bring you back too. I mean, I swear on my life. I swear on my life, bro. You know, I wouldn't lie to you, man. I mean, but I don't know. I don't really give out money, bro. I said nobody really give out money, but it's the first time for everything, man. You give me $1, I'll bring you back 2. The next day, I swear on my life, bro. You already know I already got money. All right, bro. All right, fine. I'll give you $1. You won't hear back. You won't hear back from this dude until he asks for another $1.
Yeah, my motto was always. Yeah, I was gonna say my motto was always say if you're out with the boy, while you get a club, hey dude, throw me a 20. Nah, I'll give you 100. Because I'll tell you, I don't care if it was my brother or my best friend. I'll give you 100 because I'm not going to remember and I'm not going to ask you for 20 if he gets fucking goofy on me. But a C note right now. That was since I was a teenager, man. I'll give you 100 because I'm going to remember that $100 bill tomorrow. So that was always my thing.
There's a guy like that round there. What that?
That's that loan shark thing, man.
With a script, yeah. He'll every single time he'll say, "Oh, bro, I just run out of petrol. You ain't got like 5." You fucking see him the next day. It's like, bro, I just run out of petrol. Don't fucking remember that he's actually used to saying shit on you. It's like, bro.
Well, you guys should remember life. You guys don't remember life before ATMs. It was even worse.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. There's a guy like that in my shop.
I got.
Apology. Go ahead. Apology.
Yeah, real quick. There's a guy like that in my shop. Well, basically, what you do, you'll go to the shop and wait until someone buys something, and then ask for you got any more change? You got any change? So every time I see him in the shop, I just walk straight back out, or I don't buy anything. I wait until he leaves, so I don't want to give him any money.
Apology. The next time, this is a trick I learned. Okay, and trust me, do it. They'll stop bothering you. That same guy, when you see him and he comes up to you, buy your stuff, right? And be like, hey, listen, when he comes up to you, you got some change, you say, listen, I just went in there and got these potato chips on credit. I was going to ask you if you could lend me some money and I'll pay you back. That guy will not ask you again. I guarantee you.
Oh, shit. You guys let me talk to you as well, recognize. Real quick, this is a little off topic, but like you go to the gym, right?
I go to the gym. Yep.
Yeah. What exercises do you recommend?
Oh, fuck's sake!
Listen. Wait, Stu. We want Apology to go this route.
Right.
We cannot discourage him. We cannot discourage.
Go and get one of them little females do that.
Apology. You're a big dude, right?
Yeah, well, big in terms of height. Yeah.
All right. How much do you bench? Do you bench press?
No, not at all.
Not at all. I was gonna say so if you're gonna do what are you doing? You're just doing legs and what?
Core, legs and core.
Oh, that's good. No, continue with that. I would say throw bench pressing in there, just so that you can even out. But yeah, keep doing what you're doing. There's nothing I can tell you. That's
Apology wants to impress all them college girls with his muscles.
That's what it is, man. Listen, man. We want Apology on this route.
Hey, Apology's gonna turn up to college like David Hay, innit, with his
Apology.
Guys, no, I won't stand for this. I'm doing it for myself. I'm not trying to.
Apology. Right now, I shed a tear. I'm shedding tears like a proud father right now.
I'm just laughing. I'm just laughing at Stu's comment. I'm just laughing at Stu's comment about go get those videos that girls watch.
What you know the fitness videos that girls, the woman in her fucking tights sitting there doing. That's what now? Do a star jump. Come on, you can do it. Do you know what I mean? One of them ones.
Wait. Say that again, Stu. You gotta say it one more time.
What? Now do a star jump. Come on, everyone, you can do it.
Oh, for fuck's sake, man.
Bucho, that is an intro. That is a new intro right there.
A new intro for Stu. All right.
Apology, what are you doing, man?
Apology's working out, I'm telling you.
Apologies are just about to get on the sunbed just to finish it off.
Listen. I'm doing it. I don't want to hear any bull crap. I'm just doing it because I want to do it.
Hey, is Cameron? Was that Cameron?
Apologies trying to impress all the little Beckys at university.
Oh yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Abstract, your mic is really quiet, man. I barely hear you.
Yeah, I asked about that at the start. Is it still? Can everybody? Does everybody
Very
else
minimal.
Quietly.
I mean, you could probably raise your volume up a little bit, but if
I did so as well. I did
Sounds
it
like
from here.
Sounds like you got your head down the toilet.
Hey, Cameron.
I don't know how to. I'm on an iPad. Does anybody know how to raise the volume of the microphone? I've never been able to find out a way to do it.
Stuart sounds like he's underwater.
Bucho should be able to do it from the control room.
I did it.
Hey, Cameron, I just wanted to say I've been enjoying your stuff, brother.
Oh, cheers, man. I appreciate it. You mean my interviews?
Yes, sir.
Oh, man, I appreciate you reading them.
No, absolutely, brother. Absolutely. I always retweet them too, bro.
Yeah,
if any guys ever want, if I would gladly retweet anything for you guys. So I mean, if you know what I mean, not that I'm fucking got to tie me a couple of thousand followers. So, but if you guys ever want anything, just DM me that way. The rest of you guys. But no, Cameron, you do good work. But didn't mean to break the conversation up. Sorry.
Yeah, what was he talking about before Apology decided that he wants to look like Carl Withers?
Yeah.
I'm just asking someone about it. I don't understand what's going on. What's wrong with that?
What the hell was that?
Apologies.
I don't know, some guy singing in the background. I don't know.
Don't be walking on the moors. It sounded like that werewolf from fucking London.
Where are you? Apology. What the hell are you? What the fuck?
Wait, he's not at the gym.
You're not at the gym?
It's not a gym, bro.
Yo.
I swear that was
What the hell?
That's a weird sounding gym.
That's Bucho.
No, it's not me.
Apology.
Bucho, that's you. Stop it.
Apology. Where is this gym at?
I'm in Reading at the moment, so.
Oh, you're near me, man. So I'm just saying, you're near me. We can work out together, man. We do star jumps together.
All right, guys. You can talk about that in the chat or something. We're talking about gym dates here. All right.
I'll check my schedule, bro.
All right. Maybe we should end the show. It's been a while now. It's been like 3 hours almost. Guys, did you see the cruiserweight fight? Brady's against what's his name? Mikhailian?
McCollum.
Yeah. What a fucking robbery! It's one of the biggest robberies I've seen in a while.
Yeah, Brady's was lucky to get a decision, man.
What the fuck was that? All right, I see. Recognize.
What the fuck is going on with this microphone?
I don't know.
You get some crazy shit going sometimes, eh?
I'm gonna mute
Recognize
him.
it's been steroids in his microphone, apparently.
All right. So, did you guys see that fight?
No, I didn't see it. I didn't know Brady said a fight.
That was a bad fight, man.
It was a robbery. Complete robbery. I mean,
yeah, Bradis couldn't deal with his movement, but no, I thought Bradis lost the fight.
Oh, okay.
yeah. I'm pretty sure they want a fight in Latvia because Brady does pretty well over there. So he can't go out in the quarterfinals. So that cannot happen. So he had to win that fight, and they made sure he won that fight. Just wanted to point that out. If you guys didn't see that robbery.
Now, was that in the
style.
WBB, the W series?
Yeah.
The World Boxing Super Series, yeah.
So they did. So they,
Blavatsky fight.
all right. So they finally pulled a deliberate. Now, is everybody? I didn't see the fight, but is the consensus a definite robbery?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So all right. So that
Trust
right
me.
there, man. I'll tell you right now, that's going to take a lot of shine off that fucking series because that tells you right there that they're gunning for certain things, and that's a reason why these tournaments over the.
Oh, everybody dropped. Well,
The thing is,
John Gonzalez, thanks for the contribution. He says, "Great show today. How did you get those sound bits of me shagging?" Yes, John Gonzalez, we have people spying on you.
This cruiserweight, this year's cruiserweight one, I think it's absolutely a stinker. Like, to me, it's like the contender. Like, this cruiserweight one's shocking, man. I think that of all the World Series we've had, the cruiserweight one this year is the worst by far.
Yeah, I think the thing is the fact that there's just been a cruiserweight one in which somebody won and is not in this one. It kind of takes a lot of shine off of it anyway. I mean, you've got Bradis competing for the World Boxing Super Series again. He's just fucking competing.
Yeah.
Thank you. I agree with you 100%.
It's basically a tournament for the losers. That's
And Doy, of course, is in this one as well. He lost in the last one.
Yeah, it's fucking weird, man.
Does anybody care about the Cruiserweight Season 2?
No, not really, man.
All right.
I said that to you guys. I said it was a waste of space, waste of time. What's the point? You've got to give that another 2-3 years to build some more names up. There's no new names coming through, just the leftovers. I mean, who in their right mind wants to watch that? I mean, there's other divisions you could have gone and tried to sort out, but not cruiserweight again. I mean, we've seen the best cruiserweight fight. We know who the best guy is, and
that's the reason why nobody watched it, right?
Yeah, doesn't it lose prestige? Doesn't the tournament lose prestige? Doesn't the tournament lose prestige because you already had the cruiserweight tournament, and then a few months later you have another cruiserweight tournament. So, in my opinion, it loses prestige. Obviously, it's not the same fighters. You don't have Usyk. You don't have any. I don't think you have any champions in that tournament.
No, well, because Usyk's got all the belts.
It's like this, Butcho. If you had a World Cup every year, it wouldn't mean fuck all, would it?
Ah, yes.
Did you notice there's no fighters who are signed exclusively to Heyman? Like Pro Guy's in it, but he's not exclusively Heyman.
Is Tabiti not exclusive to Heyman?
What's that?
Is Andrew Tabiti not exclusive to Heyman? He's in
Oh,
that.
I don't know about that, brother. I just know Pro Guy, the kid from Louisiana. He's also DeBella actually has a piece of him, and there's a guy down in the south who has a piece of him too. So I think he's got one of the contracts where he's involved with the PBC, but he can go fight on Top Rank like he did. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But not all the guys have that contract.
No, I love Pro Guy, man. It's one of my favorite fighters right now.
I like him too. I like him as a kid too. I like him as a guy. You know, always with his family.
I thought he was dreadful against Flanagan. Terrible.
I thought he was trying to showcase himself too much. I think he was just trying to be a certain way.
I don't think he got out first gear. Like the way he fought, it was like he was so flat.
Really flat. That's what real just flat. Just wasn't opening the gears or nothing. It was just one pace, just like Flanagan. It was just the most one pace. It was like you could have watched that fight in slow motion. It just
I was disappointed too.
I chose to watch that fight live over Jacobs Derevchenko. What a stupid idiot I was for that. Well, I mean, come on now. What was I doing?
I watched Jacobs. I knew that fight would be a stinker. Flanagan is the only thing guaranteed with Terry Flanagan, and that's he's going to come and stink the joint out. He's good at that.
You don't like Flanagan.
He's not got one elite. He's not got one good win on his resume either. His best win is still Magdaleno. Oh, fuck's sake.
I think it's
hey guys,
you don't like Flanagan.
No, he doesn't like Flanagan at all. He hates him actually.
Pointless. The guy's just pointless. Just turns up, gets bashed in, goes home. What's the? Do you know what I mean?
After seeing Jacobs,
Hold on, because I think Stu's connection is okay. Go ahead, Stu.
No, as I was just saying, I've got no I've got no interest in a guy that just brings nothing to the table. He doesn't knock anyone out. He doesn't outbox anyone. What does he do? No, he doesn't show us anything special. He doesn't
beats up a bunch of scrubs, man. That's what he does.
He had one good
Let me ask you guys.
Go ahead, Jimmy.
No, I was going to say, let me ask you guys. After seeing Jacobs Deryanchenko, what does anybody think of Deryanchenko would have fought Triple G? What would have happened? Your opinion?
I think Triple G beats him still.
Anybody else?
Yeah. To answer your question, Jimmy, I think he probably stops him too.
I think so as well. I think
I agree. And I got to give Deryanchenko credit. Instead of being a fucking jerk and saying, "Oh yeah, he ducked me," did you hear his response when he was asked about Triple G?
No,
I didn't hear what happened.
No, he straight said it was after the fight. He said, "Now, what do you think about Triple?" And he turned to him and he said, "No, Triple G did not duck me. He has business he needed to attend to. Believe me, he didn't. I mean, he was as honest and upfront. It was almost like he laughed at the question. So I was like, oh, that was pretty cool because somebody goes, well, of course he did, but no, he straight up said, no, it was no duck. He had business he had to take care of. It would have been stupid.
Jimmy, I'm sorry, but according to the LDBC, it was a duck. Okay.
Yeah. And LDBC overrides reality.
Exactly.
Right. Even the fighter himself said, no, it wasn't a duck. They'd like, just shut your mouth, fool.
That doesn't matter, Jimmy. It doesn't matter. It's what the LDBC thinks. They are the authority here.
HBO, who's about to go, who aired their last fight, told him to say that.
Yeah, exactly. It was an agenda.
Going on is a woman the headline for their last fight? Is that really true?
That would be weird.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Listen, Jimmy, if that happens, it goes to what Stu said. Look, HBO's on that. How does Stu paint it? That fluffy SJW,
hardcore with Vice magazine, that whole shitbag station, and Vice just lost millions of dollars too. They have to cut back a bunch of writers.
Yeah, but that's what they did. I mean, they've all gone social justice warriors on us. I mean, I bet HBO fucking funded the Beto O'Rourke campaign. I mean, that's the sort of fucking people HBO are.
Every movie is a 5'7" fucking 110-pound woman beating up 205-pound, 210-pound jack men. You know what I mean? It's just so ridiculous.
The left in America, I mean, you talk about us having problems, Jimmy. I mean, fucking hell, really. I mean, the left in your country.
Oh, we're off the hook over here. Off the hook. The New York Times himself are ridiculous.
They're the most dangerous people on the planet. I tell you what, they're more dangerous than Muslims will ever be. Because at least the Muslims keep it real and tell you they don't like you. These people are sneaky. They're trying to rob elections. They're fucking trying to let people just come in and flood your country. These people are more dangerous than the Muslims will ever be. And they're just little bastards. I can't wait. If there's ever a civil war in America, I'm coming over there, Jimmy. I'll stay at yours, bro.
I got a bedroom for you, kid. I'm not even joking.
Oh my god.
When I see him, I'm going to go Schwarzenegger on the coast, mate. I fucking hate them.
I'll join you guys. I can't stand them either.
Yeah, apology. You need to keep it in the gym first, bro.
Yeah, that's why
Stay in the gym.
My biggest thing is the free speech. When they see them trying to fucking stop people like Ben Shapiro, my thing is this: you might say something that makes me want to punch you in the face, but I will fucking fight to the death to defend your right to say it. You know what I mean? That to me is the biggest thing. Attacking free speech. I don't care if it's from fucking the internet to those Antifa jackasses in the street. The fact of trying to shut people down from talking, listen, the next step from that is fucking your family going to a fucking re-education camp. I'm not even joking.
That's absolutely serious. And the thing is, if you can't say anything in case it might offend somebody, you just never fucking say anything.
Yeah.
Like Jordan Peterson said that. Like Jordan Peterson said to that woman. Remember when he said that? You have no problem offending me, and she goes, Exactly. It eats itself. Now it's just ridiculous. And that's the left will eat itself because they're perpetually needing a victim. When you base everything off the oppressed class, everything's oppressed, and if there's oppressed, there has to be an oppressor. And eventually you run out of oppressors. And then the left turns on
it's cultural.
Is there a cornier set of people on the planet than the enslaved black Democrat from America? When you see him on the news, I mean, the Democrats get him to do all their crooked work for them, don't they? You know, they get them to do their dirty work. Look at Don Lemon and all them, and they're just.
He came straight out. For him to say that, listen, I'm older than you guys. I remember when it was true racism. And I remember even as a kid, man, I told you the story about that Boston cop throwing a fucking rock at a bus, yelling the N-word. It was insane. I was a little kid. And they, you know, so I've seen it all change, right? And I have black friends, and they tell me, like, dude, nobody's racist to me anymore. He goes, that's my father's generation. So that it's just gotten fucking out of control. For Don Lemon to say the biggest threat facing this country is white men, the fact that he wasn't fired immediately.
Can I say something? Can I say something?
You know the one thing about it? It's like, you know, your black friends, yeah, they'll probably be called coons and, like, you know, traders because they have a different opinion from the black hive mind.
Well, because my black friends are older and, you know, actually successful, and you know what I mean. And listen, they have good families and they have values, and it's just like, you know, there's plenty of good people on the right, plenty of good people on the left. Listen, my theory is the right thinks of everybody. We worry about the right worries about the poor people here in this country, no matter what color they are, no matter what race they are. The left worries about the individual and the fucking, oh, look at, you can't let a transgender man use a bathroom. You know how many transgenders there are in the whole country? Why are they even talking about it? Why is that an issue?
That's the reason.
The whole black following of the Democrats is the Democrats were the party of slavery anyway. The Dixiecrats and that. It was,
yeah,
Jimmy, have you not
guys,
seen,
all right, hold on.
Go ahead.
All right, because they already talked apology, and we gotta move on here. Just want to say a comment about cultural Marxism. In my opinion, cultural Marxism is just a way of it's a diversion. So now you have the oppressed, and so you, like Jimmy said, you need an oppressor, and the oppressor, it's now the white man and other people like that. But that's not, they're not the oppressors. It's like I said, it's a diversion. We're looking at the white people and stuff like that, but they're not the ones in, like, they're not the elite class.
Exactly.
You know who's the oppressed?
Hang on a second.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Stu. Go ahead.
I'll just say the biggest danger to black Americans, right, is the Democrats. Why? Because Democrats are opening the floodgates for people to just come in and steal their work, steal their jobs, steal their civil rights. Because there's a lot of them laws in America that were made for civil rights and for black people, for slave, and they're just coming in using them civil rights to get what they want. And what they don't realize is they're actually all these immigrants. I mean, it makes me laugh when I see black people marching for free borders. Open borders and that lot. It's your community that's going to get fucked first. Do you think the rich white liberals are going to care in their gay communities?
The thing is, Stu, the rich white liberals, the white liberals are the one. It's the people who own the means of production. Let's say, like, you use some fucking Marxism here. The whole point of bringing cheap labor is to reduce labor cost, right? That's what they want. They want to. So hold on. Jesus, you're fucking me up, man, here. So they want to lower labor cost. So Americans, they will not work for fucking pennies. But guess who will? Guess who will? Fucking illegal immigrants who are basically slaves. You know, that you can pay them whatever you want. So that's what they fucking want, man. That's what they do with prisoners. In prisons, they pay them like 2 cents. I mean, it's just the whole fucking system is collapsing, man. They want to lower labor costs. That's pretty much it. And they want cheap fucking labor.
Yeah,
right?
And you're 100%. Look at California. Everything you just said, you can just, if anybody wants to argue that point, just go, listen, let's establish a baseline of fact. Look at California. They have, liberals' policies have destroyed that state. California went from the most expensive, wealthiest state to the poorest in the nation in 20 years under fucking liberal policy. It has the highest amount of migrants. It has the highest amount of illegals. It has the highest amount of homeless. It's 59. It's 49th in the state, and almost businesses in the middle class are fleeing. It's the only state that's lost people, and it used to always vote Republican until they let millions of illegals in and then let them vote, and that's what happened. Now it's got a socialist state.
Like, why did they let them in to vote Democrat? Because they
exactly.
Also, it's all a scam.
It's a Ponzi scheme. Listen, Democrat policy, you eventually have to keep raising the fucking taxes. Look at, if you go online right now, look at the companies, Toyota, Siemens, some of the biggest corporations in the country in the last 5 years have fled California to go to Arizona and Texas. Do you know if you live in California and you just want to like put tile down on your floor in your bathroom, you have to pull 2 permits?
Jimmy, you know the worst thing about it, Jimmy? People are going to flee California when it collapses. They're going to go to Arizona, Texas, and then they're going to turn that state into a blue state and ruin that state as well.
The capital filed for bankruptcy last year. Sacramento filed for bankruptcy. It's the 4th district to do it.
Yeah, what's going to happen to all those people? They're going to move. They're going to move to Texas. They're going to move to Arizona, other places, New York,
That's
and
what
then
they do.
make that bankrupt as well.
That's what they do, Apology. What they do, right? These Democrats, they'll fucking infest an area with their beliefs and turn it into a fucking hellhole. Then they realise what they've done. They've turned the place into a hellhole, so they'll move somewhere else. But they'll bring their ideology with them. Oh, this place we've already ruined one state. That's not enough. Let's ruin another one. I mean, these people are fucking.
But by the way, when it comes to immigration, Republicans for the longest of time before Trump, they weren't saying much. To be honest, they wanted illegal immigration. Because they wanted
the Republicans.
Because they wanted fucking slaves again. Listen, it's not about Republicans. It's about those who control, those who have money, those who have the companies, the owners of the means of production. They want a lower labor cost. They want to lower it down, and they want fucking slaves. And the Democrats on the other side, they want slaves and they want votes. And obviously, all the immigrants are going to vote for the Democrats.
This right. This is about California. On what Jimmy was saying, right? If you hire say if you're moving house, if you hire a truck, right, from California to Texas, right, it will cost you 3 times more than the journey from Texas to California. So you work that one out. So if you hire a truck in California, it costs you 3 times more than the same truck it would cost to hire in Texas, or 2 times more. It was 3 times. Yeah. So fucking that just shows you how expensive California is, and that's why people in their business.
It just surpassed Mississippi as the poorest state out of 50. It's the poorest. It owes over $160 billion in deficit that they will never pay back. It's an impossibility.
They literally have no money. Everyone's gone. Only the poor people are left.
It becomes what it is now. It's the super wealthy. You go into certain parts of LA. It's the super wealthy living up in the hills, in the Hollywood Hills, and they virtue signal. They feel good about themselves, instant gratification, feel they're better than everybody. And the poor who suffer. Listen, one of my black friends I talk about is the Los Angeles Sheriff's Department, and he's hearing from the people on the street in the black community. They're saying straight up, they're not coming here. Yeah, I'll tell you right now. So they're already they don't want them coming there either.
They want illegal immigrants to walk their they want illegal immigrants to fucking walk their dogs and do all that cheap fucking work for like pennies. That's why I'm against illegal immigration. Because by the way, those Mexicans that cross the border, God knows what the fuck happens there. I mean, the women and children get abused. A lot of them die in the desert. It's so fucking dangerous. And these fucking Democrats are encouraging the whole fucking thing. Yeah, just come over, like, fucking risk your fucking lives.
If we were kind to the Mexican people, we would build a wall, and we would help Mexico. There's no reason Mexico is a poor country with the resources and everything they have there, and the amount of wealth that country has. That country's still a billionaires.
It's a piece of shit.
All right,
and the American governments, they have allowed. They actually funded the PRI, which was a Mexican party that was in power for like 70 years. They were getting money from the US, so they had a fucking deal. But with Trump and this new president that Mexico just elected, I think things are gonna start to change. But I don't want to get into this too complicated. But that new president from Mexico, he's from a new party. That's
what's his name? Bucho?
López Obrador. López Obrador. He's from a new party. He's like he's a nationalist. He's not a fucking globalist. All neoliberal economic fucking beliefs.
How is nationalist now? Now, did you see that woman actually conflate that to the president? Mr. Trump, sir, you say you're a nationalist. Now, do you see how a lot of people attribute that to white nationalism? I'm like, I can't believe that. That was what the basis of our country. We're all nationalists. We're patriots.
Exactly. You have to protect your own country first, man. And by the way, talking about illegal immigration, Mexicans. You know what? Some Mexicans complained about Trump. It's like, oh, why is he building a wall? Blah, blah, blah. And guess what? Now they're changing their minds. You know why? Because you have the caravan that's basically being paid by fucking George Soros. But that's another fucking subject. But anyways, the caravan, you guys know about it, right? The Central Americans that are coming in through Mexico. These people are destroying the country in Mexico. They're just ravaging the whole thing. And now Mexicans are going like, well, fuck, now we kind of understand that you need to control your borders. You know
did you see? Did you see something? And I know Precise will like that. I'm not Precise. Sorry, apology. On two of the caravan trucks, they had Star of David's on the door.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
They're getting paid. Yep. I speak Spanish. All right.
You know that.
Hold on. Just one thing.
Right?
All right. I speak Spanish, so I saw this interview where they were interviewing this woman who was part of the caravan, and she's like, I think I'm gonna go back. Anyways, I didn't even walk. What do you mean you didn't walk? You were because they were always in cars. They're they're put up in these fucking trucks. You know, they're not even walking, and they're just when they get filmed by the news crew, they show them walking. But other than that, they're being driven.
It's the same NGOs who are ferrying the fucking people from Africa into Europe. The same exact people.
It's George Soros, man, guys. I'm telling. Anyways,
it is George
probably
Soros.
Already said too much
listen,
here.
Bucho, you're 100% right, dude.
He's one of many people. He's one of the many.
But he's the biggest. He's his name. I forget the name of his company now because I'm stoned. But no, absolutely, it's George Soros, the Hungarian Jew who was a fucking collaborator, and he shakes it off. Imagine if he was on the right wing. Imagine what the left would do to him. He openly admits that he fucking helped the Germans by going around and went through all the dead Jews and ripped the gold out of their teeth and took all their money and gave it to the Germans. So he was a Jewish collaborator, and now he's don't get me going.
They're psychos, no feelings, no nothing. They're just fucking nuts.
They are. And to a little bit to your point, Jimmy and Bucho. Listen, the elites, the elites. I'm talking about your politicians, your mouthpieces, especially on the liberal side. I'm not saying that the right is the party you need to be voting for, because there's a lot of corruption on the right too. But especially on the left, listen, these are they truly are your enemy. Okay, they will bring in anybody. The reason why they're for open borders, the reason why they're for that, is because they know these are the people that are going to vote for them, vote for their policies. Okay, because they're the ones that are letting them in, and that's to replace you, the poor working class, replace you and your family. Okay, and when they do that, it has no racial barriers. It's everybody. They want to because they don't want to just rely on you, because they know that eventually you'll wake up and you'll grow out of your leftist idea. Because a leftist mindset is really a childish one if you really look at it, right?
Most people grow up to be conservatives. That's why.
Right, most people grow up to look. I'm not gonna lie. When I was younger, I was
too. Everybody was. Your ideal.
Now that I got more responsibilities, I know how it is to make it on my own and whatnot. I'm more conservative.
When you're broke, you don't mind when people talk about taking other people's money. But when you finally have some, right? Like, you're taking my shit. Fuck you. Get a job, fool.
And they want to get rid of the hierarchy. In other words, get you to never want to be something bigger than what you are right now, because you're too afraid to go out there and make it on your own. You know.
Hey, Bucho, can I?
If you had that incentive, if most people had that incentive, I'm sure that most people can work hard and achieve a lot of things. Of course, a lot of people are going to fall through the cracks because there's a lot of bums out there, and they just. And what I mean by bums is their mentality. They don't want to work hard. They just don't want to work hard. They want to be given everything.
Hey, Bucho.
The leftist mindset, the communist mindset, are for lazy bums. That's what it comes down to. And these politicians are your enemy. They're the ones that want to let them in. They are your true enemy as an American or somebody from the UK, or anybody from the Western world.
Yeah, I agree. But I just was going to tell Bucho real quick. You know my theory, and it's a wacko theory. I know people get laugh, but this is my thing. It's Scott Soros. He hated the Germans. Remember, his whole family was slaughtered. Almost everybody knew it was slaughtered. He only survived by collaborating, but he still collaborated. My thing is this: his whole life he went through and he did whatever he could, including almost broke the Bank of England to make these billions. In this whole thing, at the end of the day, he's flooding Germany with Muslims who aren't going to assimilate. It's eventually going to pop up a war, and some people saying Germany will never be the same, and he's destroyed it. And at the gut, this is all a plan because he hates Germany, wanted to destroy it. Ha! That's my theory on George Soros.
Good. It's possible.
Yeah,
I was just saying it would make a good movie.
Yeah, revenge.
But, you know, they'll tell you that he's a philanthropist.
But he's going to pay him back because what's the idea? He's destroying these countries and he knows it. Germany, listen, I've been to Germany twice. It is fucking gorgeous. Gorgeous country, beautiful people, but they're infected with this guilt of the Nazis. Listen, not even their parents weren't around then. Enough with that. And because of that, they've started with the first of speech, or you can't even say the word Nazi. People in England going to jail because a dog is a Heil Hitler thing. It's gotten out of control. And I'm telling you, the next stage is your family's being sent to a fucking re-education camp. And it's no joke. And fucking Merkel, she sees it. But hey, Brazil went right. Fucking Italy went right. Hungary's like, fuck you. But let me tell you something about the whole Jewish thing. You see the Star of David on the NGO boats bringing in the people coming in from Africa into Europe. They got the caravan now, Zoros, and all these NGOs are Jewish, right? In the Wall Street Journal, all these motherfuckers will crucify you if you say diversity isn't a strength or if you question multiple, spreading of just migration everywhere. But they always defend and they always write that Israel needs to remain Jewish, at least 90%, and they list the reasons why they can't have any multiculturalism because it's too dangerous. But it's so funny how that is. That just bothers me. And I like Jewish people, Israel, but it just bothers me that all these people who crucify you on the left, if you talk about multiculturalism, but it's fine for Israel to stay that way. Just weird. I don't know.
Yeah, no, it is. It is weird.
All right, guys, we're going to have to end that now. It's been 3 hours, and we got into conspiracy theories. Ooh.
Mucho, look at the 2 pictures I just sent you. I sent you 2 pictures. You should be able to get it. Tell me what's wrong. This will tell you what's going on in America today.
Oh, yeah, cultural appropriation.
Yep.
Yeah, that's part of the whole cultural Marxist war that's happening, and we should be focusing on instead of focusing on the real evil fucking bastards.
Well,
but anyways,
what do they say? 2 out of 5 professors in the United States are admitted Marxists. That's a scary thing. And the fact that they've been in lifelong academics, so they've never been in the real world, and they see these people they think are much, they're intellectually smarter than, and they see them make all this money. And capitalism, and they get jealous and they hate them, and I think that's what drives them to Marxism.
You know what makes Don Lemon? You know what makes Don Lemon dangerous? Besides his stupid rhetoric, Don Lemon is dangerous because he lies to the people, and I'll tell you how he lies to the people. He sits there and tells you who's your enemy. White men are your biggest enemy. I guarantee you, he lives in a neighborhood that's 90%, if not more.
His husband's white. His fucking the cock he puts in his mouth is white.
He doesn't even want black people and lower.
Let's be honest.
He doesn't want black people or lower class people around him. He's a liar. He's a liar.
All right, guys. We're gonna have to end it. We'll do a second renaissance because this is very interesting, and I know you guys know a lot about this subject, which is, very good.
I'll definitely be down for it, man.
Right. Me too, brother. Definitely count me in for that.
Bucho,
all right.
Everybody.
Bucho, thank you very much.
Jimmy, peace, bro.
Peace, brother. You guys be safe.
You too, man. All right, take care, guys. And everybody in the chat, thank you for joining us. We had a good discussion. Usyk, whether he will make it or not in the heavyweight division. I see in the chat you're also got into some conspiracy talks. Let me just tell you this, guys. Whatever they tell you to focus on, don't do it. All right? These people are evil. They're telling you these guys are evil. They're not. Probably they're not the real evil bastards. I'm just searching for a song here for the outro. Don't believe everything you see. Take care, motherfucker.